Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Lost Everyone and Ended Up in Genshin Impact World Part 2. Before we start, please go support AndresFelipeSolanoDi for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear. This Issei is a male in this story. Chapter 11. Feelings. The next day I slept peacefully. Noel made breakfast, asked if I was doing anything interesting. For his curiosity I told him that I was doing monster commissions. I circa N''T tell him the truth about Venti and what I do with Jean and Dilek. I quickly said goodbye to her and went with Dilek and the others. Curiously, I asked about that order from the Abyss, but I did not get a concrete or satisfactory answer. Dilek. The Order of the Abyss are enemies of the human race, however absolutely no one has any information about them. Issei. Then we don't know what they want or their particular goal. Dilek. Yes, it was quite difficult for me to get clues from them. Venti. At least you got clues. Your information network must be very good considering what the Abyss is. Payman. Now that I think about it, Mr. Barbados, why do you need the help of us simple humans? Issei. Payman, the gods have rules. I don't think they are all powerful, they simply possess a power superior to that of humans. Jean. You have good knowledge on this topic. Issei. Ha. These are not just my assumptions, since if Venti were almighty it would cost him nothing to do this alone. Venti. Haha, that's right, the Seven as people call us, we were known as the Seven Archons, each Archon rules his territory, originally that is the role he plays. Issei. But you don't rule anything. Venti. Yes. We get our power when we do our duty, but I don't like the idea of ruling Mondstadt, and I don't think the people like the idea either. Issei. In other words, being the god of freedom paid you the bill for being the weakest god by not governing your territory. Jean. Build a free city without government, we have never forgotten Barbados' wish for Mondstadt. Issei. Freedom is beautiful, I share your ideals, however I am glad that the law exists, so much freedom would generate problems. Jean. Of course we are referring to freedom that brings happiness to people. Payman, it's something noble, Jean. Issei. Yes, you have a nice thought. Jean. You think blushes. Payman. But it seems that someone has a lot of freedom and is very lazy. Looks at Venti. Venti. Ahem, I hadn't returned to Mondstadt in a long time, and as Issei says, I am now possibly the weakest god of the seven. Issei. Well, I guess that makes you the god of the capital of freedom. Venti. Oh, you make me blush. Dilek. Oh, what a humble god, is it a blessing or a curse? Issei. Better a good god than a bad one. I know this from experience. Dilek. But let's stop getting off topic, we track the Wizard of the Abyss and he is around the vineyard. Jean. We must catch him and eliminate him no matter what the cost. Issei. Let the hunt begin. We hurried to get to the vineyards, of course the wizard was with a group of armed hilichurls. Dilek. Be careful, Issei, the wizards of the Abyss can use elemental energy, they have a weak body, but the annoying thing is their shield, depending on the element, you will need the right element to remove it. Jean. Or hit him physically, but you have to be very strong. Issei. Smiles, don't worry, I'll make him regret being in that bubble. Charges towards him. Abyss Wizard Hydro. Insolent fool, you think you can beat me. Issei. Hits the bubble. Hydro. Abyss Wizard. You won't do anything to me. Issei. My intention is not to destroy her. Pushes her up. Wizard of the Abyss Hydro. But what is this? Issei. Jumps up, you're trapped in a circular sphere, you're basically a beach ball. Low. Shock. Low. Jean. It's making the magician harm himself by being inside that sphere. Dilek. Jean, the hilichurls. Jean. I've already ordered Dandelion Sword. At that moment a cutting wind would tear all the hilichurls to pieces. Payman. Wow, Jean is super strong. Dilek. Of course, not for nothing is she the master superintendent of Mondstadt, one of the strongest people. But Issei. He was having fun hitting the magician like a ball. Hydro. Abyss Wizard. Enough, removes shield, now you'll see that without your tricks. Issei. Stabs him, I'm sorry I got tired of your voice, bye. Abyss Hydro Mage. I am miserable. This would be destroyed and a kind of energy would come out of his body, causing his corpse to shatter. Issei would approach the others to show the corpse of the magician shattered. Venti. After you defeated the magician, a kind of energy came out of his body, apparently it serves to cut the connection between Valen and me. Issei, do you know Stormterror's lair? Issei. No. Venti. After the dragon awakened, it made the ancient ruins its lair, just like the storms that once isolated Mondstadt from the rest of the world. The entrance to the ruins is sealed by a special barrier, but now I was able to read the rhythmic flow with which the barrier was woven, thanks to the energy of the Abyss Mage. Payman. One question, how does Valen come in and out? Venti. The fly, you forget. Issei. Basically you don't have to undo the barrier. Paimon. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Issei. Are you sure you can break the barrier? Venti. Yes, this should be enough to get inside Stormterror's lair. Issei. After entering all friendly actions will be blocked, we will have to fight. Venti. Since it is the worst case scenario Jean. If killing him is the only option, I'll be the first one in front of him. Issei. Stop everyone, punches don't just serve to kill, they can calm someone down. Venti. Exactly, luckily it won't be necessary, after all we have the best card. Jean. Really? Illic. Which one exactly? 20. Issei. Issei. What? Venti. You purified Valen's tears. Issei. Sigh, there is no other way. Paimon. Wait, that would be very dangerous, I could devour you. Issei. Calm down, I think I have the level of strength required to confront him. Illic. That sounds like a good plan. Jean. I support you Issei, but if the situation turns against your life, I will have to put an end to it. Issei. Calm down, only I decide when I die. Paimon. So enemies from the abyss and a dragon, nothing to stress about. Issei. Haha. Reminds me of home smiles. Paimon. Why are you smiling? Issei. You're welcome, let's go. So with those last words we arrived at the place where the barrier was. Of course we were ambushed by more enemies and we finished them off. Then Venti removed the barrier with his power, I could admire the ruins and feel the presence of the dragon from afar. Every step, every movement, the dragon's hostility was felt. He had detected me, but he was still waiting for us, we came across another barrier and quickly solved the puzzle. At last I was in front of his lair, the others did not notice, but my dragon blood was burning. Issei. It's there. Paimon. These ruins are the work of Valen. Venti. No, they belong to a civilization of the past, it is a mere coincidence that it is sheltered here, Mondstadt is a city without a king, but before that it was ruled by a tyrant, anyway, I will tell you that story another day, we are going to save Valen. Jean. Go ahead. Illic. You entrusted me with your secrets, I will answer you honestly. Venti. For freedom. Issei. Good luck everyone. As we entered, a large figure stood in front of us and attacked us ferociously, but we dodged the attack. Creak. Valen. I was expecting you. Venti. Valen, I know there is goodness in your heart and that this is not your fault, so now let us help you. Valen. They will feel my claws. Blow. I quickly lashed out to attack, however my sword and Illic stopped the blow. Issei. This boy is gaining weight. Illic. Blade of fire. Valen. Hi Aya. Issei. That gives me an idea. Illic elemental reaction. Illic. Smiles. Issei. Shot whirlwind. Illic. Fire eagle. The attacks would combine and go straight to Valen's face. Issei. Jean's 20 follow it. Venti. Arrow of the breeze. Jean. Slashing wind sword. Valen rode in pain, then thorns on his back were noticed. Issei. Surprised Venti look at his back of him. Venti. They are poisonous blood clots that accumulate in his wounds, the order of the abyss must have cursed the wounds, that is what is corrupting Valen. Issei. Then it's clear what needs to be done. With agile and fast movements, taking advantage of the dragon's stun, Issei would climb on his back and begin to use his sword to eliminate the problem. Valen. Get off of me starts flying. Jean. Issei. Illic. Shit in the air, we can't attack it, Venti, can't you shoot it? Venti. I need a precise shot, but because of the distance it's difficult for me. Issei. Hey dragon to dragon, you really have to stop cutting the thorns with blood clots. Valen. They betrayed me. Issei. I know what it's like to wake up and see that everything is different. Low. Valen. What do you know? Shock. Issei. More than you think. I know what it's like to fight for something and then see that it was all in vain because it disappeared, but taking it out on that city, on those people who are not to blame, it's not right. Low. Valen. The anger I feel is too much. Issei. Don't worry, I'll fix it. Spits blood, I'll help you, don't die, dragon. In this he would give him the last blow, removing the last clot of poisonous blood, and that same blow would take him back to the ground. He would see how Valen fell, and in turn a great blow would be received by all of them due to the dispersion of elemental energy. Jean. Issei, are you okay? Issei. Yes, and you? Illic. Yes. Paimon. This place is falling apart. Issei. Everyone be careful. At that point the fall was imminent. Jean, Illic, Paimon, Issei and Venti visualized the void, but at that moment a dragon appeared to take them out. Venti fainted for a moment and when he opened his eyes he was with his friend Valen. Issei. It seems like everything went well. Jean. Great job Issei. Issei. You're welcome. Venti. Looks at Valen. We haven't flown in a while, Valen. Valen. Just now, why didn't you ask me to protect you like last time? Venti. Just because I don't want you to obey an order from the Abyss doesn't mean you have to obey me. Freedom, if ordered by an Archon, isn't freedom at all. He could admire the conversation with his friend about him as he looked at the high sky flying on Valen's back. Venti quickly took out a hold of elemental energy and placed it on Valen. It was the power of the Anemo Archon. Valen. I am no longer one of the four winds. Venti. Even if you are not, you protect us anyway. Now open your wings of freedom and fly with my blessings. One day later. Jean was writing the report at her desk calmly with a beautiful smile as everything returned to normal. The citizens calmed down and the dragon disappeared without a trace. With Issei. Valen. So you Issei are not human? Issei. I'm a humanoid dragon. Valen. It's the first time I see one like you. You're far from home. Issei. I no longer have a home, my home is this world now. Valen. Why did you try to save me so determinedly? Issei. I always have something in mind. If I'm going to start a new life, I want to have my ideals in front of me all the time, follow them and never stray from them. Valen. Your ideals. Issei. Never be cruel, never be a coward, and always keep your head held high even if you cry afterwards. That's why I'm not saying that I'll help everyone or save everyone, but I'll try to do what I can. In other words, it's all about trying again and again. If I keep complaining, I won't be able to move forward. That's what I've learned in the short time I've been here. Valen. These are good ideals. If the winds blow, we will see each other again. Issei. So it will be. Valen lives free like a dragon, without gods, without kings, just being a dragon crossing the vast sky. After that scene, Issei would retreat and the dragon would fly away. Chapter 12. Visualizing the future. After that Valen problem, I started to take a walk in the outskirts. A day had passed and I left Payman alone with Noelle while I attended to certain matters, so I brought her after finishing pending matters. I approached Amber, who was removing objects from the monsters. Amber. The honorary knight returns triumphant. Payman. Yes, we gave Valen what he deserved. Issei. We helped him, Payman meant. Amber. They just returned to Mondstadt. Issei. Yes. Amber. Then you'll be glad to know that Jean told everyone about his exploits. Heavens, I wonder when my time to shine will come. Issei. You were also very useful, Amber. Surely when Jean wasn't there you had to take on a lot of work, especially with the monsters. Amber. No way, you deserve all the credit for solving the main problem. Payman. But what happened here, Amber? Amber. The monsters made a coordinated attack on the city. Luckily I discovered they were approaching a long time ago. Issei. I wonder if the Abyss Order has to do with this. Amber. Possibly. Issei. Sigh. Amber. From now on we have to keep an eye on the guys from the Abyss. Issei. Who knows how many times we'll deal with them. I continued my way through Mondstadt and met Kia. Kia. So you faced a dragon, smiles. Issei. It seems so. I see that now the streets talk about me. Kia. You're not the type to enjoy or gloat over fame, it's good to have that modesty. Issei. Thank you. I wanted to ask you if the monster attack, the Order of the Abyss, was the cause of everything. With Amber I assumed it, but if it's you. Kia. I assure you, they definitely planned everything, yet there were many members of the Knights you don't know who protected the city. Issei. But. Kia. Yes. However, they only sent a handful of monsters, they wasted a golden spoon. Issei. Or maybe there's something else. Kia. To find out the truth we need to wait for his next move. Issei. Yes. Kia. By the way, the day you made a hell in the Stormterror's lair, just as the howls of the Hilichurl sounded before the city gates, that same day I saw sinister figures inside the city. Payman. Inside the city. Kia. We were all outside fighting. It was obvious that inside the city would be unprotected, except that they did not count on me, who was not outside. I managed to infiltrate their invading ranks to fraternize. After a few small maneuvers I was able to obtain some information. Issei. Surprise, that's amazing. Kia. If this is what I got, behind the Abyss Order there is someone who leads them. Payman. The Order of the Abyss has a leader. Issei. Well, I guess it was something I expected, even they need a leader if they are so organized. Kia. Yes. And the plan to use Valen as a weapon was his idea. Issei. TCH. Payman. What kind of little maneuvers did you do to obtain such information? Kia. I'm good with words, but that's not all. The Abyss Order addresses him as the Prince. Issei. Prince. Kia. Well, I wasn't in the defense of Mondstadt, and that's why Amber is angry, so I better go to avoid her scolding. He would leave quickly, then Amber would arrive and invite us to eat something. While we talked about things, she would complain about Kia and his irresponsibility. Amber. So what are you going to do now, Issei? Payman. Well, we decided to venture out into the world, travel through the 7 nations having fun and being part of the Adventurers Guild, having one or another adventure. Issei. Sigh yes. Amber. Then you will leave Mondstadt. Lowers head. Issei. Yes, but no, I still have some things to do here, so at least I'll stay for a while, until I meet everyone here and explore the nation more. Amber. What a joy. Issei. Hey. Amber. Blushes. I'm so glad the food is ready, let's eat. Smiles. The meal ended satisfactorily, there was still something else to do, so I headed to the church, where Jean and Venti were, and there was another person there. Jean. Hello Issei, let me introduce you to Barbara, the deaconess of the cathedral, she came to collect the sacred lyre. Barbara. May the Anemo Archon bless you, I am not in a position like that of the Grand Master Intendant, but thank you for solving the problem, I could not have imagined a war between the army and the dragon. Smiles. Issei. It was nothing. Jean. Now the Fatui will not be able to blame us for anything, they must be disappointed that things did not go as they expected, they no longer have an excuse to pressure us. Barbara. What a story, anyway they brought the sacred lyre, we can't ask you to continue protecting the lyre, the seneschal has been pressing me for a long time. Payman. About that well, we have it, it's just a little damaged. Barbara. Don't worry, I didn't come for the rent, the church has always had special funding, a little scratch is nothing. Issei. It's just that shows him the lyre. Payman. It's more than a scratch. Barbara would be scared to see the damaged lyre, while Venti would look the other way. Barbara. Ah, the sacred lyre, O Lord Barbados, even if it atoned for my sins for the rest of my life, it still wouldn't be enough. Issei. 20. You have something. Venti. Sighs. Give me the lyre for a moment. I would give the lyre to Venti and use his elemental power to repair it. Barbara. Oh, incredible. Payman. That was amazing, let me see it. Barbara. No, I do an apostrophe T know how they fixed it, but it's the last time they lay a finger on her. Ella leaves Ella. Venti. Well Issei, I think we should go. Issei. Because. Venti. The trick I used to repair the sacred lyre, let's just say that the magic I used won't last forever. Issei. Jean. What? Venti. See you. Issei. See you later Jean. Jean. Wait. Issei and Venti would quickly leave. But upon leaving the church, 2 figures similar to the tax collector that Issei faced would come out to attack Venti. Shock. Issei would fortunately arrive and stop them. Issei. Was that close, the Fatui? Wow, you are annoying. Behind them the floor would freeze, trapping Venti, Payman and Issei are sent flying, Issei in turn would be kneeled by the collectors, he knew that if he made a false move, Venti or Payman could get hurt, he was not in a favorable situation. Finally the Rat King of Mondstadt in person. The woman emitting a dangerous aura would appear, while 2 people resembling the girl who stole the lyre were seen next to her. There was no one who did not know this woman or had not heard of her, Signora, one of the 11. Signora. Wandering the streets looking for food. Venti. Better a local rat than an invasive parasite. This one would slap Venti in the face. Signora. Know your place, insolent bard. Venti. You're making fun of me, someone who borrowed his master's powers. Lady. You must watch your tongue. But those last words, Signora would attack and take out a strange piece of Venti's body. Lady. This is Gnosis, I wouldn't like to die wearing this ugly thing. Venti. Maybe you have bad taste. Lady would kick Venti. Signora. We have what we are looking for, now let's get going before the nights come. Issei. Curse to remember you. The tax collectors would knock out Issei and leave. After a while he would wake up, but who he would see in front of him was Payman and Barbara. Issei. I am. Barbara. I'm healing you calmly, I couldn't heal your friend, my power didn't work, it was the first time that happened, he insisted on leaving the cathedral. Payman. Where did he go now? Barbara. She said she went to see the symbol of the heroine of Mondstadt, Teacher Jean said to leave it. Issei. I understand, now I know where it was, it's that tree, he told me about it when we were returning from the Dvalin affair. After saying those words I would go to the big tree near the uprising. Venti. The breeze is pleasant, it has an intoxicating aroma. Issei. Yes. Venti. You have questions, don't you? Issei. Where do I start, what is Gnosis? Venti. Ha. You're not supposed to talk to an ordinary person, but it's okay if I tell you in secret, or at least to you, who are not ordinary, as you know the visions are magical artifacts that few people can have, through these visions you can attract elemental energy. Issei. Yes. Venti. But each holder of a vision has the qualities to become a divinity and ascend to Celestia, they are what we call primordial recounts or Genshin. Issei. Genshin. Venti. If in an ancient language at least. Issei. Can vision bringers be gods? Payman hadn't heard of it. Venti. It is because it is a secret that only the gods know. In short, we do not need such primitive artifacts as a vision, instead our power comes from direct resonance with Celestia, that is the Gnosis. Issei. So what's hanging on your waist? Venti. This is a crystal ball, so as not to arouse anyone's suspicions. Issei. I understand, meaning you can use elemental power without vision. Payman. Who was the woman who attacked you, threw me into the air and knocked Issei unconscious? Venti. Called Signora, she occupies the 8th seat of the 11. Issei. I heard about them when I was with you and deluded. Venti. Yes, the Tsarina of Snezhnaya has granted each of those fatui authority like that of a deity, and their forces surpass that of mortals. Currently it is the region with the greatest military power. Issei. That explains its power. Payman. By Tsarina you mean? Venti. The Ice Empress who rules over everything in her winter palace, the Cryo-Archon, is the one to whom the 11 answers. Issei. It seems that I will have quarrels with her fatui and her, but I pay my debts. Venti. The 7 of us have our differences and different concepts in each nation, but I didn't think he would try to steal a Gnosis by force. Issei. Do you know what kind of person he is? Venti. I remember the Empress from 500 years ago, but she has changed so much that I don't even recognize her. After a catastrophe that occurred 5 centuries ago, we lost contact. Anyway, we can talk about the Cryo-Archon and the fatui another time. Issei. Yes. Venti. I heard that you plan to travel the world. Let me tell you that your journey is full of difficulties. The fatui could have kept an eye on you just for being close to me. Issei. Yes, for now I will be in Mondstadt a little longer, then I don't know where I will go. Venti. I recommend that you go to Liu, the neighboring nation, where the Geo-Archon rules. Unlike me, he personally administers the region. Venti. Descends once a year to give his predictions, oracles and determine the guidelines of Liu for the rest of the year. Payman. He works harder than a certain person. Venti. Hey. Well, it seems that this year the rite of relegation will begin. It will be a great show. If you miss it, you will have to wait another year. Issei. I understand, I still have time. Venti. Yes, so don't worry, you can take plenty of time in Mondstadt, and remember that on your trip you may encounter a dangerous crossing, as well as unique landscapes and experiences. Issei. I will always keep it in mind. 2 days later. After that talk, 2 days ago I would head to Noel's house, enjoy Mondstadt for a while longer. I will stay a few months before going to Liu. During this time I will do some favorable things for Mondstadt and the world. Issei. That reminds me, today I left Payman helping Noel with dinner. Collector. Ah, please don't stop. Issei. Squeezing his neck. You know the debts I collect. Tax collector. Forgive me. Issei. You attacked Venti, who I have come to consider as a friend. Jean was pressured by someone as good as her. She was suffering for you, and possibly many people have been hurt, but you show no remorse. Tax collector. I'm sorry. Issei. What I value most is friendship. Only love is superior to that, and I promised myself that this time I will have friends, and if I ever come to love a woman or several, because I know how I am, not to leave them at the mercy of bastards like you. Collector. You understand that the fatui will not go unpunished. The 11 are going to. Issei. Cuts off his head. The tax collector's head would fly off until it hits the ground. Issei. The 11 you say, if they look for a fight they will have it. A dragon is good for fighting. Looks at his hands. I can dragonify parts of my body now, although only 2 at a time. Anyway, I don't expect to have the level of power I had immediately, but at least this means that I am recovering, also, but at least I will be able to learn new things. I think I will go with Noel and Payman, otherwise I could not have dinner. As Issei walked, a large amount of blood and many bodies of fatui soldiers killed by him could be seen behind him. He would walk over those bodies as if nothing had happened. In that, Issei's mind would remember his ideals, something he swore to himself in this new life, and that he spoke to Dvalin about. But these here were complete, the part of the ideals that had not come out of his mouth. Never be cruel to someone you love and appreciate. Never be a coward against the enemy. Always keep your head up even if you cry later. Also, if someone hurts your friends or someone you love, kill him without mercy. This world is now my home. I find it fascinating and beautiful. Things change, although this was a very drastic change. I will accept it. And I have to change too. Issei would be shown admiring the city of Mondstadt with a new hairstyle and new clothes. Arc 1. The adventure begins. Finished. Chapter 13. Who are you? Arch 2. Starts. Like any other day in Mondstadt, Payman and I were exploring the area. There was still a lot of time before we were going to Liu, so we focused on exploring the areas, meeting new people, etc. Everything seemed to be going normally without any problems, personally nothing seemed out of the ordinary since the incident with the Dragon Valen. The days passed without problems, payment ate with Noel and we chatted together etc. I knew more about Amber, Jean, Lisa etc. However, things strangely changed one morning when I went out for a walk alone and left payment at Noel's house. Issei. Well, what can I do now? You know, Drake, if you were here, we could talk or chat for a moment so we wouldn't be bored. Ha. But it's not an option, I guess I'll see Catherine. When I saw Catherine I approached her, she seemed a little more worried than usual. Catherine. Oh Issei, so good to see you. Issei. It seems you are having problems, is something wrong? Catherine. We recently received a transport order, they requested guards to escort the merchandise, but even with them it seems that someone stole the carts that transported the merchandise. Issei. And what happened? Catherine. Well, not much was lost, in the end everything was recovered, apparently the thief was looking for something in particular and took it, but… Issei. But what was lost and taken is possibly something valuable. Catherine. Yes. Issei. Whose merchandise was it? Catherine. It was the Fatui. At that moment Issei looked shrewdly. Issei. The Fatui that they are not strong enough to protect their things, this gives me a bad feeling. Catherine. That would be the case, but there is a rumor that they have lost many of their men, so having support in Mondstadt has become difficult, plus the Fatui have not had a good reputation here for a while now. Issei. This may be partly my fault, every so often I attack their bases and kill many of their men, it is not surprising the lack of manpower to protect their things. Catherine. They can't send their best men either because they are busy in the other regions, so they turn to the Adventurers Guild. Issei. Then what was lost? Catherine. I have no idea, nor do they say so, but they are asking for compensation from the guild, but we said that we would find that object, however they did not say what it is, and right now a large number of adventurers are looking for that mysterious object. Issei. Ha. The Fatui always giving a pain in the ass, Catherine don't worry, I'll help you find that object. Catherine. Thanks Issei. Issei. Is there any clue as to where to look primarily? Catherine. In fact yes, according to sources it was near Dragon's Thorn. Issei. Dragonthorn, what place is that? Catherine. True, you may not have known it yet, but it is an area located south of Mondstadt. Issei. What kind of place is it? Catherine. It's a huge mountain where the snow never melts. Issei. Wait, snow. It's a joke, right? Mondstadt has a snowy place. Catherine. Yes, but it is also dangerous, the extreme cold makes it a relentless environment, in addition to the enemies that are there. Issei. Millimeters I don't think the cold will be a problem for me, on the other hand, an area like this must have special enemies, which gives me an even worse feeling I'll be on my way. Catherine. Okay. Once I had accepted the assignment, I headed to Dragon's Thorn immediately, at the entrance I could feel it, even my dragon heart was beating strongly and fiercely, there was something about this place that was abnormal, which made me feel too uneasy. As I walked I could feel the cold on my skin, and for me that was a serious matter, although my current state was degraded, I was still a humanoid dragon, feeling cold was not something normal, it didn't take long for me to realize that the whole place was giving off elemental energy. Issei. I would like to know more about the history of this place. It's more complicated than you think, I wouldn't finish it in a day to explain it. Issei. Hey. Then my eyes could see a beautiful woman, who dazzled me by how beautiful she was, however her next action was quick. Let's go. Issei. Wait, what do you mean, who are you? That doesn't matter now, let's continue on our way, you also agreed to help the Adventurers Guild, right? Issei. Are you a member of the guild? Yes, and when we finish I have things to talk to you about. Issei. Talk to me? Sure but I don't know your name. That doesn't matter now, let's move on. Issei. Do you know what we're looking for? I know many things, including who the thief was, but I do know what we are looking for. Issei. So can you bring me up to date? At that moment the ground began to shake. For now, prepare your weapons, something is coming. Issei. Pulls out his sword then what's next? This is a problem, from this sound I would say that a frozen arm Lawitcherl is approaching. Issei. What? Have you met the Midicharl? Issei. Those big boys with fire axes, yeah. The creatures change with the environment, they are no exception, apart from the fact that here you will find more of them, with the difference that they will be with an ice shield instead of the axe. Issei. What does that have to do with the approaching Lawitcherl? The Lawitcherl is a Midicharl that has grown to a gigantic size, thanks to the accumulation of elemental energy in its environment, in this case, thanks to Dragonspine, it is one of the cryo-element. Lawitcherl. Roars. Issei. Something I need to know about them. If two things, area and long-range attacks, added to strong charges, also before entering combat they put on elemental armor, unless you have a power of the opposite element in this case being cryo, the pyro would be super effective. Issei. I don't have that. Me neither, run. Immediately the two of them would run away, the Lawwitcherl followed them and was stepping on their backs. Issei. There's no way we can hurt or kill him. With just the two of us it's difficult, we would need more people, if one of us had the pyro power with just one person it would be more than enough, but with that armor there's not much to do. Issei. Damn. Wait, that's in front, it seems that we have something. What are you planning? Issei. You have a glider. Nod. Issei. Prepare it on the count of 3. Okay. Lawwitcherl. Gets closer and closer. Issei. 3. I hope it works. Issei. Of the. Lawwitcherl. Extends arm. Shit. Issei. 1 now jump. Jumps. The next thing you see is the Lawwitcherl falling to the bottom of the mountain and Issei and the girl on a glider. Issei. Do you think he'll survive that fall? Let's hope not, there may be a limited number of Lawwitcherl on the mountain, but I'll tell you that we might encounter more along the way, if that happens one less helps us. Issei. Damn, isn't there something besides the pyro to destroy that shield? Dio might also work, but pyro is best for these cases. Issei. And the physical damage. You would hurt them, but it would be a long and attritional battle, and their constant area attacks are very annoying, it is not an easy fight with them, you always try to finish quickly. Issei. Damn. The good thing is that we are close to her. Issei. She. Lights. Issei. Sorry, who is Lucy, I'm lost. She is the one who stole from the Fatui. Issei. What do you know about her? I found out what I could about her, but I didn't get anything better than her name and a physical description, but not very big, she's a girl who has a young appearance, her hair is blue and nothing else. Issei. How will we identify her? For what I steal from the Fatui. Issei. And that's it. Stops at disappointment. Issei. Mistake. Have you ever met women in purple suits or hooded men who turn invisible and use pyro? Issei. Yes, and I have also killed many. Well, that is a disappointment, they are treasures of incredible power, Chirina the Cryo-Archon grants them to those worthy of her power, few members of the Fatui who are not part of the 11 have one in their possession, although these are not as strong as those she gives to the 11. Issei. In other words, they can use elemental powers like visions. Better yet, in many cases they can use more than one element at a time and other things, little is known about them. Issei. Well, you seem to know quite a bit. I already faced the Fatui a long time ago, you could say that it is my daily life. Issei. Now I understand why the Fatui are making so much fuss. Yes, in addition to that they have a cost. Issei. I already assumed it. Unlike visions, they consume the vital energy of the bearer to give you that power, in the case of being able to control the power of course, if you do not handle it well, I do not even want to think what would happen. Issei. Then there is no time to waste, let's continue. As we walked we could notice several things, the corpses of small monsters in the area, the smell of their blood was strong, it flooded the whole place, it didn't take long for us to realize that the Lucy girl was around here. Lucy? So visitors came. Issei. Stops, it seems we found the girl. Your Lucy. Issei. Her outfit is the same as the magician's, but this one is blue. It is surely the power of deception, it must have given him control over the cryo element. Issei. Tell me she doesn't put up a shield. I'm sorry to say that it does. Issei. Shit. Wait, you said her hair was blue, but she's more degraded. It is the disappointment that absorbs your vitality, no wonder it accelerates your aging. Issei. Lucy. We don't want to fight, honestly if someone steals from the Fatui I would consider them more of an ally than an enemy, but what you stole from them will hurt you, you must return the disappointment. Lucy. Give them back. Do you know how much I dedicated my life and my efforts to obtaining a vision? For years I prayed to the gods without them responding to my pleas. Issei. There are many who are not granted a vision, but they move on with their lives. Lucy. And do I have to be one more of the crowd? What's wrong with wanting to be special? Immediately a cryo shield had manifested in Lucy, and she had fired ice spikes towards Issei and the girl. Issei. Shit Welsh. Issei would quickly return the attack with a wind tornado, but it was of no use. The Nemo is infused with cryo making it inefficient. Issei. Can we beat him? As I said, it is very difficult when you do not have the corresponding element, we can only be on the defensive. Issei. And do what? Reason with her. Lucy. You guys seem important to the guild, if I finish you off here you'll finally leave me alone. Issei. Lucy, this is not right and you know it. Are you going to kill two innocent people just for power? Lucy. Of course. The instant he said that he launched an attack to the ground, immediately sharp ice peaks flooded the place. Issei jumps in the air. Lucy. You will see that with the next attack I will kill you. Issei. Being defensive isn't my thing. Me neither, but there's not much we can do and throwing her off the mountain isn't an option. Lucy. I have them, now die. Right at that moment. Break. Creak. Issei's eyes widened and trembled as he saw the disturbing scene. Issei. Wait, what is that? Too late. Lucy. Please help me. His body began to break like ice, to the point where he died, and there was nothing left, just an object on the ground. It's over. Issei. What the hell was that? Deceptions have a price you forget, and those who do not control their power can die in various ways. Issei. That girl book. Picks up the disappointment. Let's return this in a box to the guild. Issei. Yes, customs officer. After what I saw I was simply left thinking over and over again, what a sick mind the Fatui have to use those things. Anyway, I don't care about their deaths, but I wasn't happy with the death of someone who had nothing to do with it. Saying that she asked for it is not wrong either, but at least I didn't want her to have a death like that. Catherine has already resolved everything with the Fatui. Issei. Okay. Do you feel like it's your fault? Issei. I couldn't stop it. Tell me one thing, if they told you that even though you didn't directly cause that girl's death, but indirectly you did, how would you react? Issei. What do you mean? For example, if your presence in this world changed something, how would that make you feel? Issei. I don't know, I would feel a little guilty, but I would look for ways to prevent this from happening again. Anyway, I have to go see. How's Payman, are you going to see her? Issei. Shocked. Hey, what did you say? She is my friend. Issei. No, Payman hasn't told me she has a friend. Who the hell are you? Do not be nervous. Issei. You have known many things since our meeting, things that would not be easy to know if you do not experience them, and now you tell me that you know Payman, if she has not even seen you. And I have been with Payman since I came to this world. I was with her long before this world changed. Issei. Who are you? My name is Light. Chapter 14. Consequences. I was currently with a girl called Lumen. Our meeting was abnormal, and for a long time, I expected answers more than anything, because I did not know if she would be an ally or an enemy, but the answers she gave me, I would have wished not to know, since apparently my presence could cause deaths indirectly. An hour before. We decided to sit down and talk. What I didn't expect were the answers from him. Issei. Then first of all, who are you? Lumen. I already told you, I'm Lumen. Issei. We both know that's not the answer I'm looking for. What did you mean by saying you were Payman's friend? Lumen. I can tell you everything, but first you have to tell me everything about yourself. Issei. You talk about trust, that's not easy for a new acquaintance, especially you, considering that I just met you under the strangest circumstances. How do I know that you are not my enemy? Lumen. Because if I were, I wouldn't have had to warn you about the enemy and Dragon's Thorn, its weaknesses and strengths. I would have let you fight in without information, which would have been detrimental, and I wouldn't have given you information about the disappointments. Issei. You have a point. Lumen. So? Issei. Okay. So I started telling him everything he asked me, but more specifically since I got into the supernatural. Enemies, powers, forces, races, factions, etc. When I finished that part came the important part, how all the dimensions of my universe merged, leaving this world and annihilating mine. Lumen. I understand. Issei. Really, I honestly thought you would think I was crazy. Lumen. Not a perverted boy like you, I don't think I made up that kind of stuff. Issei. I knew I should have omitted the stories of me and the girls, along with my personal goals. Lumen. Besides that, you are a good person. Issei. Hey, don't you think you're exaggerating? You just met me and… Lumen. You expressed compassion for the death of a girl you never met. Issei fell silent upon hearing her say that. Issei. I just think that no one should die like that. Lumen. And that's why you're a good person, you feel empathy for others, although I doubted it. Issei. What do you mean? Lumen. Why doesn't anyone kill the Fatui raiders in such a brutal way? Issei. So you've been watching me. Lumen. Since you arrived with Payman. Issei. I see. Lumen. But from your stories, I understand that you are more accustomed to killing your enemies than leaving them alive. Issei. So now tell me yours. Lumen. Well, first I want you to know that I needed your side of the story to connect the dots of mine. Issei. What do you mean? Lumen. Theoretically, if the dimensions are different from the universes of what you call the multiverse, by not finding identical versions of yourself, then those dimensions, far from being a world, are rather totally different universes, where you will not find yourself. Issei. Seeing it that way it's logical, if there are stars in the sky there is obviously an entire universe that makes it up. Lumen. Under that theory, I understand the situation of the world better, especially my situation and yours. Issei. Wait, my situation. Lumen. The goddess of celestial principle should not have appeared before you, but before me and my brother, but at the time of starting all this or at the time your world started this, the dimensions paid the price. Issei. I still don't understand. Lumen. When all this happened, making this a dimensionless universe, I can assure you that time went backwards. Issei. Shocked you're not joking, right? Lumen. No. Issei. Why are you so confident? Lumen. Because you are in my place. Issei. What? Lumen. The battle against Valen with Jean, Diluc and Venti, I have lived it with Payman, I have traveled with her to Liu and Inazuma. Issei. That's it. Lumen. I would say more but for some reason my mind blocks the memories, it seems I have information from the future blocked. Issei. But how is it that you can remember and the others can't? Lumen. I remember something finding, it was not from this world. Issei. What did you find? Lumen. And I found Aya. Lumen immediately began to scream like crazy and grabbed her head, her eyes moved in an agitated manner, in turn that caught people's attention, but Issei acted quickly and took her to a place where they couldn't see her. Issei. Lumen, are you okay? Hey Lumen. Lumen. Calm down, I'm listening, apparently I can't say it either, in fact I can't remember it clearly. The drop of blood would come out of his nose and lips. Issei. I think it would be better to forget about it for now. Lumen. Yes, I feel like if I say it my head will explode. Issei. Well, at least having you helps a lot. Lumen. Thank you. Issei. Tell me one thing, I embarked on this journey simply to see the world with Payman, what was your reason? Lumen. My brother. Issei. And where is it? Lumen. With the abyss. Issei. Surprise, tell me that was a joke. Lumen. I wish it were, I would like to remember more of him, but my memories are limited until the end of my trip in Inazuma, if I try to remember the other regions the pain comes to my mind. Issei. Okay, so if time goes back and I'm in your place, it means that I'll meet your brother, and possibly being with the bad guys he'll be an enemy of mine. Lumen. Possibly not only him, but many more people, like Jean or Diluc, who will be your friends. Issei. Although they were originally supposed to be yours. Lumen. It's not like you can help it. Issei. Anyway, I think you should repeat this trip with me as we have different goals, having you would be a great help to keep things as they should be, although my presence here alters the entire course of history, but your knowledge will be very useful. Lumen. Are you sure about that? Issei. I don't think Payman would want to have a friend like you far away. Lumen. Smiles, you really are a good person. After things calmed down I decided to resume the conversation with Lumen, but in the fields outside of Mondstadt, after that scene, it would be best not to attract attention. Lumen. The wind from Mondstadt is always the best. Issei. I agree. Lumen. You have to know something. Issei. It's regarding the fact that I now occupy your place in this timeline, don't tell me anything, I already know, how much trouble will I get into? Lumen. The question is how many not. Issei. Demons. Lumen. Liu and Inazuma, those two regions as we speak have their own problems, I was caught in the middle of everything not because I wanted to. Issei. If not, because you had no choice, right? Lumen. That's right, I was caught in the middle of a lot of trouble, and just like you, my own sense of justice prevented me from ignoring them. Issei. For now I have two recommendations. Lumen. Recommendations. Issei. Yes, look, changing history would make the future more difficult, but I am literally here when I shouldn't be, if I know anything about time is that no matter what I do some things will change, just by being here there should already be many possible futures. Lumen. So your point is? Issei. Well, my first recommendation is that you do what you did to get into those messes with Payman. Lumen. You talk about following the story as it is. Issei. Yes, but here is the second recommendation, and it is that you involve me from the shadows, well you do your thing, I will do mine, with your information I will be able to advance clues, take them to the hiding places faster, all from the shadows, everyone will think what a coincidence, when in reality it is thanks to your future information. Lumen. And because the future is going to change with your presence anyway, then from the shadows we minimize the changes, and at the same time we facilitate some things. Issei. Exactly. Lumen. But you're sure of it? Issei. Lumen. It's basically the same as saying that I take all the credit and you did nothing. Issei. Sighs Lumen, your way of doing things is different from mine. Lumen. Are you talking about the Fatui corpses? Issei. Yes, I'm more used to finishing off my enemies, you have more compassion, I don't think Payman wants to see many corpses on this trip. Lumen. Sighs, I guess that stubborn head of yours has already made up his mind. Issei. I'm glad. Lumen. However. He would put his finger in front of Issei firmly. Issei. What's up? Lumen. It will only be applied to the important parts, in everything else you will have to be with me helping me. Issei. Blushes as you wish, don't blame me if I do things my way. He would turn around with his face blushing. Lumen. Wow. What's wrong, are you blushing? Issei. No. Lumen. Well, I'm a beautiful girl, it's normal for a boy like you to feel attracted. Issei. I'm going back to the city. Lumen. Wait for me. This is how Lumen joined my journey through this world, although after reintroducing her to Payman, Noelle greeted us a bit strangely. Noelle. Now why Issei coming with a cute girl? Issei. She's my friend Lumen. Noelle. What is your definition of a friend? Issei. Noelle, why are you asking that? Noelle. I just thought you just left a little while ago and you came back home with a woman. Issei. True, that doesn't seem logical, but Noelle looks much more aggressive. Noelle. Noelle. Are you up? Issei. Are you angry? Noelle. I just hope for a good logical explanation for this event. Payman. But you're angry. Noelle. You're welcome. Issei. As I said, Lumen is a friend. Noelle. What kind of friend do you meet in a day? Issei. You for example. Noelle. At that time I just kindly offered my help, we weren't friends until recently. Lumen. Whispers, I didn't think you knew Noelle. Issei. Whispers, yes, he helped Payman and I when we were literally homeless. Lumen. Whispers, Ella, she's a good person, but this is the first time I've seen this side of Noelle. Noelle. Cough cough, excuse me. Issei. Hey. Noelle, to tell the truth. I would give a brief explanation about a mission from the Adventurers Guild, and that helped me, of course omitting details, as well as adding false data. I could not explain much about Lumen. Noelle. I understand, you became friends in the process of saving each other, but Issei, you were very reckless to go to that place without preparation, you must be more careful next time. Issei. Thank you very much. Noelle. Excuse me, are you planning to stay? Lumen. Because her tone bothers me, is that a problem? Noelle. Well, everything is fine, as long as you stay in separate rooms, after all, you are a woman and he is a man. Lumen. I think he is very capable of making his own decisions, and if he comes to me it will be of his own free will. I don't see how a friend like you should get involved in those matters. Noelle. It's because I'm her friend, I don't want her to make hasty decisions. Lumen. Do you think you own her? Noelle. I don't just want you to set an example for maintaining decency. Lumen. Decency. In case you don't know, he's a pervert, perhaps the biggest you'll ever see in your life. Issei. I feel like this conversation is not going well for me. Noelle. What do you mean by that? Lumen. A boy like him has aspirations to have many beautiful women, it is not surprising that like a dog, he has already had many women. Issei. Yes, this became insulting. Noelle. So that's your excuse to break decency in someone else's house, because I remind you that you will be here as a guest. Lumen. So you control your guests now? At that moment I could see sparks between Noelle and Lumen clearly. Payman. Payman doesn't know if she should get involved. Issei. Including you. Payman. You have to try. Issei. Why do you pass the mine to me? Payman. Payman thinks it's your fault somehow. Issei. Sighed. Well, Noelle and Lumen, how about we calm down? Noelle. Lumen. Shut up, don't get involved. Issei. At least if they agreed on something. Well, my journey in this world has just begun, with this situation I realize that it will be full of many mistakes. And for some reason I feel like most of them will be with girls, but oh well, let's see how this ends. Chapter 15. New acquaintance and huge problems. After talking to Lumen, the days passed and she went out with Payman and did her thing. Curiously, she earned the title of honorary knight through incredible actions. In just a few weeks the Knights of Favonius could not ignore her. She gets along extremely well with Jean, Amber, Lisa and Noelle. But for some reason when I'm around, I feel like a competition is starting, so I feel a little uneasy. I hope it's nothing. At the same time, the story began to move. As the days went by he met more people, of which the following can be highlighted. A certain Albedo in Dragon's Thorn along with a girl named Rosaria de la Iglesia. In the middle of a walk with Payman he met a girl named Eula, also Venti, although she made up the excuse that she was in church and saw our whole adventure, naturally she got along with him without any problems. Now I understand when Lumen said she was in her place, all she experiences as the days go by is one adventure after another, normal days are few, but Payman doesn't seem to care, they get along incredibly, well it's normal since they were like that in the first timeline. Although she curiously told me to be careful when I meet a certain Bennett, she sounded very serious about it. She also met Shangling and a wolf boy or something called Razor, possibly Lumen has already recovered friendship relations these days. One thing I realized is that like me, she has the power to use the elements since she is not from this world, but from this universe. My situation is the same but different at the same time. As the days passed like this, I realized that the more days passed, I am closer to Liu and the feeling of nostalgia when I say goodbye to Mondstadt comes to my heart, so I will enjoy this region a little more, even if it is a little sad it is not a goodbye, but a see you soon. But it's better not to think about that, there's still a long way to go. Issei. Yondoel is at work as a maid for the Knights of Favonius, Payman went out with Lumen, and I'm doing nothing again, I guess I'll see an assignment at the Adventurers Guild, I can't stay without doing anything any longer. When I was getting ready to go to the Adventurers Guild I looked around with boredom. Hathrine. Oh Issei, how good to see you, I haven't seen you in days. Issei. I was on break for a long time, plus I heard that Lumen was doing important errands, I thought they didn't need me around here. Hathrine. Yes, Lumen has been a great help to the guild, but that doesn't mean we no longer need you, your contribution is necessary for the guild. Issei. Haha, just kidding, I've been bored lately, anything to do? Hathrine. Yes, there is something specific, a person requests an investigation into a new domain that has recently appeared. Issei. Who requests it? Hathrine. It's anonymous, but payment has already been made to the guild for whoever accepts the assignment. Issei. Millimeters, I guess fighting wouldn't hurt me to practice, where is the domain? Hathrine. Let's see, according to this, it is located on top of the Starry Cliff. Issei. That's it. Hathrine. I'm also a little confused due to the nature of the place, but it's what the order says. Issei. Okay, I accepted the assignment. Stop there. Looking sideways I could see a girl, but she was unusual, I noticed her cryo-vision which kept me alert, but besides that I personally found her beautiful, an elegant woman, with pale skin and violet-yellow eyes, she has short light blue hair, which extends to her shoulders, and her bangs reach her eyebrows, she immediately captivated me, she had nice breasts. Apart from shapely thighs personally she was beautiful, even so I should not let my guard down. Issei. Sorry, did I do something wrong? Hathrine. Miss Eula, I didn't expect to see you here. I thought that as a member of the Knights of Favonius's reconnaissance company, you would be on the outskirts. Issei. So she is Eula, Lumen met her several days ago, she told me a little about her, she is called by various nicknames, among the most recognized are Knight of the Tide, Captain of the Reconnaissance Company, Dance of the Resplendent Wave. Eula. This time I am here for a specific matter. Hathrine. Does that matter perhaps include the guild? Eula. Yes, Master Intendant Jean sent all the Knights of Favonius to warn both the people and the guild, not to go to the Starry Cliff, not even for guild missions, the entire area is prohibited. Hathrine. Is something going on there? Eula. An energy anomaly has been detected, it is believed that it may be a product of the Lee lines, and according to Lisa, the effects that this can cause are not yet known, so keeping people away is our highest priority now. Issei. Can't you locate the source of the problem and eliminate it? Eula. It is not simple, if there were one, a team would have to be formed and enter the area, but if there were not one, it could cause unnecessary damage, since when the anomaly is natural, only time will make it disappear. Issei. What if it turns out to be the first? Eula. The team is in progress, due to complications many Knights of Favonius have been injured and are recovering from their wounds. Issei. I see it's true that the Knights of Favonius have been very busy with various matters since I arrived, from Dvalin to monsters, and when they returned there was too much work, overwork could cause injuries both physical and mental, it is not surprising that there is a lack of manpower while I'm going to the Starry Cliff. Hathrine. Wait Issei, are you really going there? Issei. I already accepted the assignment, I wouldn't back out. Eula. Wait, did you hear what I said? Issei. Yes of course, but I don't care so I see you. Eula. Hey, I'll get my revenge. Issei would head straight there without any problems along the way, but Eula would quickly follow him from behind. Upon arrival he would see the cliff area completely covered in fog, which gave him a feeling of unease. Issei. This place gives me a feeling of unease, the energy I feel is elemental energy, but there is something else anyway I will find out when I enter. Eula. Wait. Issei. Hey, be careful, don't run so fast. As she quickly approached Issei, he would be pushed, causing him to enter the domain with Eula. Issei. Damn. Eula. Ouch. Looks like we're in. Issei. Can you get up, this position is uncomfortable. Blushes. Eula's body was on top of Issei, more specifically Issei's head was near her bottom. Eula. Blushes to the extreme B, but. Issei. There is no. Eula. Shiver pervert. Issei. Why is it my fault? Slap. 2 minutes later. Issei. With red cheek, you were the one who fell on me. Eula. I was trying to save you. Furthermore, disobeying the orders of the Knights of Favonius could bring you trouble. Issei. I don't think that will happen to me, honestly, besides I was just trying to help, surely Jean knows that. Eula. Wait, Jean, are you perhaps the honorary knight? Issei. Yes, Issei has a taste. Eula. I heard about you, but lately the honorary knight is more active than you. Lumen has done a lot of things. What have you been doing? Issei. Well, laze around and relax. Eula. That's a little disappointing. Issei. Don't expect much from me, I just help when I have the chance to do it or when I lack money, that's generally why I work in the Adventurers Guild. Eula. Sighs. Issei. Well, I'm already inside, if you'll excuse me, I'll continue. Eula. I guess I have to do it too, besides I don't see a way out, only fog. She would turn around with a serious look, revealing that there was no entrance. She began to walk next to Issei, but in front of her there was only more fog. Issei. Lumen told me about you, you are the type of girl who is kind to people and is trustworthy. Eula. Blushes her. How dare she talk about me behind my back? I'll get revenge. Issei. Yes, he also told me about that part. Eula. I, on the other hand, heard Lumen talk about you. Issei. And what was clear to you about that? Eula. You are a pervert and I reinforce it after this incident. Issei. Hey, as far as I know it was your fault, you pushed me and fell on top of me. Eula. So you're going to deny that you're a pervert? Issei. Damn, I can't say anything anyway, let's finish this problem quickly, girl. Eula. Angry, what did you say? Believe me, my revenge on you is increasing. Issei. Sighed. At that moment strange noises were heard. They were impossible to say in human words, since it seemed like a non-human language, but if something was clear, it was also the sound of heavy footsteps that were felt. Eula. Issei. Stop. Immediately on the foggy path a light lit up. Quickly both Eula and Issei took out their weapons. Issei. What is that thing? Eula. A guardian of the ruins. Issei. What? Eula. It's basically a kind of non-flesh-based lifeform, a mechanical monster. Issei. Wait, Mondstadt isn't a medieval-style city, where the hell did robots come from? No matter how you look at it, this sounds like robots. Okay, tell me they're not a huge problem. Eula. They are strong enemies, but you don't have to worry about elemental compatibility unlike other enemies. Issei. I'm glad these aren't like the Dragonspine enemies. Eula. Yes, his weak point is that glowing eye, it is easy for archers because it leaves them inactive for a while. Issei. Turns them into easy dolls to hit without stopping. Eula. Exactly, but now comes our disadvantages. Issei. I never liked this part. Eula. I use a greatsword, you use a light sword, the weak point is on your head, ask how we reach it in a combat situation, since jumping is not an option, they have long-range attacks like explosive shots if you get too far away, long arms and are fast at hitting, as well as having some area-crushing attacks. Issei. Ask if I were to fight with brute force, how would I fare? Eula. Well, I'll tell you, you would need monstrous brute strength to withstand many tons falling on you. Issei. Well anyway, between the two of you it will be easy, it's just one, nothing can go wrong. At that moment another glowing eye came out, but this one rose higher over the first one, making Eula's face turn pale. Eula. Damn. Issei. Eula, what exactly is coming? Eula. A hunter of the ruins. Issei. Quickly give me information. Eula. It's worse than a ruin guardian. Issei. Weak points. Eula. The same as above but. Issei. But. Eula. More weapons, attack speed, shots and explosive shots. The difference is that with explosive shots they rise so high in the air that only with an archer you can bring them down. Issei. Shit. Then the two of us against the two of them, we'll have to give it our all from the start to prevent them from making troublesome attacks. Eula. Let's dodge the Ruin Guardian's attacks to finish off the Ruin Hunter first. Issei. I agree, let's go. Quickly the two of them rush towards them. Ruin Hunter. Turns his hand into a drill. Ruin's Guardian. Fires missiles. Issei. Tracking missiles, so these were the explosive shots, let's use this to our advantage. Eula, hold back the Guardian. Eula. Okay. The Guardian gets up to strike, but Eula deflects the blow to the ground. In turn the missiles approach Issei, but he took them to the Hunter of the Ruins. Ruin's Hunter. Shoots him. Issei. Eat this mechanical junk, crouches. The Ruin's Guardian's missiles quickly hit the Hunter in its weak spot, but the continuous explosions of more than one missile destroyed it. Ruin's Guardian. Raises arm. Eula. Prepares her sword. Issei. You know you should watch your back carefully. In one movement Issei would throw his sword at a glow on the back of the Ruin Guardian that seemed to be a weak point. Issei. Now cut it. Eula. Hi. Eula would quickly and strongly squeeze the hilt of her sword, concentrating all the strength she had, plus the power of her cryo vision of her on her sword, cutting off the upper part of the Guardian of Ruins. Issei. Ugh, that was harsh, why didn't you tell me I had a weak spot on my back? Eula. There are almost no opportunities, only when they are going to fire those missiles, and only they have them, the hunters or other monsters from the ruins do not. Issei. Are there more types of those things? Eula. Yes, it would be problematic to meet more of them, especially a Ruin Destroyer. Issei. You were right, this place is not easy at all, in fact it is more dangerous than I thought, I underestimated the force that could be here, we have to find the exit and warn the others. Eula. Yes, it is certainly not common for there to be guardians of the ruins in these parts of Mondstadt, especially the ruin hunters you usually find in Liu. Issei. Then let's continue. At that moment the fog dissipates, revealing many bridges in many directions, below them and above them. Eula. This domain is huge, not only that, looking at the bridges in all directions, this place seems to be a huge labyrinth. Issei. We must find the exit, at least we already finished off the guardian and hunter of the ruins, so there is no way this will get worse. Eula. Hey. Shocked hey Issei. Points to the front. Issei. Shocked buck. Don't buck with me. 1, 2, 8, 20, 40, the lights turned on showing many bright eyes, they were guardians and hunters of the ruins, many of them. Issei. But what the hell, what is the source of all this? Eula. This anomaly is far from normal. Issei. Eula looks behind them. Eula. So it's an anomaly caused by that, a kind of darkness. Issei. No, it's shaped like a sword can't cause this, wait that's it. Shiver. At that moment the darkness that covered the source of the anomaly dissipates, Issei's face changes to terrified, his eyes do not stop shaking when he sees the sword that was buried in the ground. That was Hyodo Issei's sword, his friend from the occult club. The holy demonic sword. Chapter 16. Nothing makes sense. Burst. Burst. Crack. Steps. Burst. Issei. Shit, Eula, hurry up. Eula. I have almost no energy left, I can't go on any longer, we've been running for 4 hours. Issei. Damn, Eula was following me, added to the last fight with those machines and running for so long, her energy must be running out, at this rate the accumulated fatigue is going to be fatal for her, I must think of a quick plan. Eula. We have to think fast, running can no longer be an option. Issei. We can't fight either, there are too many of them, and at this distance their constant bombardment would leave us toasted before we get close, not to mention that there are too many of them, and they would beat us to death. Eula. Well, moving away hasn't stopped them, they run faster than regular guardians, and those missiles don't stop. Burst. Issei. I have an idea. Eula. Is this a bad idea? Issei. Possibly it is, their attacks began to increase more, to the point of starting to break the platform with so many explosions. Eula. Well then what do we do? Issei. Destroy the platform. Eula. We're on top of her. Issei. But they do too, look, since the course began they have attacked us constantly, the platform should not hold up much longer, if you concentrate your cryo power in one point with all your strength as a final attack, it will be as if a huge knife were cutting the stone. Eula. After that we fall into the void with them and die, in the best case we fall on more stone bridges and die from the several meters of height, added to the hard stone. Issei. Eula, I know we just met, but trust me. Eula. How do I know we'll be okay? Issei. That's why it's called trust. Eula. Damn. This is not having options. Issei. Well yes. Eula. As soon as I stop running I will receive the missiles. Issei. Don't worry, I'll take care of attracting their attention, they'll head to the nearest target. Eula. Okay, get ready. Issei. Understood. Issei quickly turned around to charge at the guardians and hunters, immediately the hundreds of missiles were launched towards the. Issei. I don't have my dragon powers are very degraded, my skills as a reincarnated demon are garbage, the only thing I retain is fire resistance, a little more strength and endurance than others, but that's all dodging missiles. Eula. Concentrates cryo energy, it's still not enough, I don't know what Issei is planning to avoid the fall, but in this situation I just have to trust, looks at him, I shouldn't doubt him. Burst. 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 Issei. Dodging, that was close, too close. Eula. Issei, I'm ready. Issei. Cut the damn ground. Eula. Glacial cutter. Immediately, Eula's cryo energy added to her physical strength, attacking like a huge energy blade, which when buried in the stone bridge was cut in half. Following that, the bridge began to collapse, the stone floor was cracking, the hunters and guardians of ruins fell into the void, some hit the ground of the bridges in the lower and lowest parts of all, being destroyed by the impact. Eula and Issei would be falling quickly. Eula. Issei, what's the plan? Issei. Eula, hold on. Eula. Of what? Issei would approach her, as they plumbed he could see the floor of a bridge in the deepest part getting closer and closer. Issei. But what? Eula. Heh. Issei. Hugs her. Eula. Wait, what are you doing? You're not planning, you're going to die. Issei. I hope not, I have to concentrate. He used the anemo elemental energy around his body to make the fall slower, however withstanding the blow against the hard ground, that would depend on Issei. Eula. Close his eyes. The moment the fall occurred a sound was heard, Issei's body hardened the damage of the fall. Eula would not have survived, Issei knew it, that's why he let her put all her weight on him. However, even with the help of the anemo element, it was a fall of several meters, no human would survive. Eula. Opens eyes, I'm fine, shocked. The large crater with Issei's body had marked the ground, blood was coming out of his head. Issei. Cough. Eula. Hey Issei, answer Issei please. Puts her ear from Ella to his chest from Ella. The heart is beating, he's not dead yet, rips her clothes, I'll stop the bleeding for now, but due to the severity of the blow he'll be unconscious. She would give him basic first aid using her garment to stop the bleeding, then carry him on her back. Issei. Unconscious. Eula. For now I have already given him first aid, this was your plan to keep us safe, putting yourself in danger, you are an idiot, I will definitely get revenge, idiot. Their words, despite what they said, showed concern for him, but also discontent for his act of self-sacrifice. In the city of Mondstadt, several members of the Knights of Favonius were gathered together, mostly several known to both Issei and Lumen. Lumen. Many have gathered. Heyman. The matter must be serious. Jean. Amber, any news from Eula? Amber. Not yet, nothing. Lumen. Where could she have gone? At that moment Albedo would approach Klee. Albedo. As I understand it, he was one of the people in charge of informing the civilians just like me. Klee. I hope Eula is okay. Kia. This is interesting and confusing at the same time, Eula is not one to put her work aside. Lisa. There is N''T any sign of fighting in the city, considering Eula's skill and power, if she was attacked, it would definitely draw attention and leave a big mark. Jean. Then we can rule out kidnapping and attack her in her disappearance. At that moment Noelle would walk through the door. Lumen. Noelle, did you go to talk to Issei? Noelle. Actually she wasn't at home, she probably went out. Payman. Payman thinks that Issei might have gone to do an errand at the Adventurers Guild. Jean. It's a shame, your help with this would be great. Albedo. That boy is the one they've been talking about lately. Klee. Oh, they're talking about Jean's boyfriend. Jean. Blushes Klee. But what are you saying? Kia. Hahaha, it seems that Issei has conquered hearts. Lisa. It seems my love has become very popular. Lumen. Leaving that aside, let's get back to the main topic, Eula's disappearance. Amber. I just hope he's okay. Lumen. Calm down Amber, knowing Eula she's probably fine. At that moment two people entered together, they were Dilek and Rosaria. Kia. Oh, this is really unexpected, I didn't expect to see you here Dilek. Dilek. I have my reasons. Lumen. Rosaria, because you are here too. Rosaria. Let's say it's for information. Dilek. We both know information about a certain problem, which concerns the disappearance of two people we all know. Lumen. They talk about Eula and Issei. Rosaria. Yes, they both went to the Starry Cliff. At that moment the atmosphere became serious. Rosaria explained that she was listening to Issei and Eula's conversation secretly, while Dilek watched the two of them run away from afar. Putting words and actions together they quickly realized what happened. Lumen. So Issei accepted a commission, Eula tried to tell him not to go do it because the area was forbidden and he didn't care at all, so he went anyway of course, knowing Eula's personality of her, she followed him. Heyman. Sounds like something Issei would do without a doubt. Jean. Either way, taking into account the time that you have passed, it can only mean one thing, and that is that both of them entered the domain. Albedo. I don't know Issei's abilities, but if I get an idea of Eula's, they shouldn't have any problems escaping if it were. Rosaria. If it were a normal domain, but since none of them are present here. Kia. Means that the domain is out of the ordinary, possibly a dangerous and alert situation. Heyman. That doesn't mean we have to go after them quickly. Dilek. Acting rashly will bring us problems, we must prepare for dominance. Kia. Also. For the possibility that both of them could be dead. As he said those words the atmosphere became somber and serious. Amber. That's it. Kia. I'm sorry, I think I said something I shouldn't have, that was too much even for me. Illic. No, you're right, in this situation anything can happen, that's why we must take that possibility into account. Jean. Let's have faith that at best they are only injured. Lumen, I need you to contact Barbara. Light. Yes. Immediately everyone went to get ready, even Dilek and Rosaria would participate. In turn Lumen, after notifying Barbara, went with someone in particular. Venti. Oh, but they are Lumen and Payman, it seems that the winds become murky around them. Lumen. Well, you could put it like that. This would explain the situation that was currently happening. Venti. I see. Payman. Do you have any idea how to know the situation within the domain? Venti. Although it may not seem like it, the situation at Starry Cliff is something that even I cannot know, the energy there is too evil. After saying those words Venti's face became serious. Snowy. Evil. Venti. I've never felt anything like that, it makes me incredibly uncomfortable. To tell the truth, I'll also go to support them, but of course I'll go first. Lumen. Will you be okay? Payman. If you no longer have your Gnosis, and you are not like you were in your prime, it will not be dangerous for you. Venti. Let's say I'll have help from a friend, you don't worry. With Eula and Issei. Eula carried Issei as she walked, her body had accumulated fatigue, to tell the truth she didn't know if she could stop, they had fallen very deep, it was worth saying that the question would be how to get up the platforms, since she only saw a path behind her ahead, but she didn't see the up, unless they grew wings. Eula. This is so annoying, I should stop and rest, I'm almost out of breath, but we're in hay, that's a joke right, I'm hallucinating from exhaustion right. In front of Eula the fog cleared revealing a house, they were still within the domain, but there was a house in a place like that, a house in the most unthinkable place on the planet. Issei. Unconscious. Eula. With you still asleep I can't stop to think if it's a good idea or not, but I need to rest, and even if it seems stupid it's better to go into the house than to keep walking without food, water, and even without knowing if more enemies may appear. Saying those words Issei would enter with Eula, in fact when entering there was no trap, Eula held her sword with Issei on her back, she checked every corner of the house, but everything was normal, it had water, food, as well as a bedroom with a bed, nothing out of the ordinary. But basically that's what made it so disturbing. Eula. Everything. It's okay. It's just that nothing here makes sense. I have to think that this can turn out to be a blessing in our current state, right Issei? Issei. Eula. Haha, honestly you did something stupid to save my life, you deserve to rest so I'll prepare your bed. Slowly Eula checked the wound on his head, the bleeding stopped a long time ago, but there was a large wound on his skull, to tell the truth he probably broke his head, but in normal cases for doing something like that he should have his entire head broken and be dead. Following that he used some bandages he found in the house and changed the ones he had on his head that were improvised. Then he gently put him on the bed, but at that moment Issei let out a sound, a name, the name of a woman. Issei. Laughs. Eula. Stops laughs, it's a woman's name, but not from around here, I wonder who it is, looks at him, I'd like to know what he's dreaming about. And Issei is subconscious. Issei. Then Drake, tell me why I have to give this class in private with you, although technically you are in my body, so technically why do I have to be here alone? Drake. Well, Azazel asked me to instruct you properly. Issei. Is this about dragons? Drake. That's right, I think I have to explain many things to you, as well as teach you many things that you don't know. Issei. I think this might be long. Drake. Don't worry buddy, we have plenty of time to talk. Chapter 17. Memories. Someone once said you don't know what you have until you lose it. Another person said those who know what they have are afraid of losing it. He who does not know lives carefree while he who knows lives in fear. Both lifestyles are different. However, both come to the same conclusion. When you lose something irreplaceable, only pain remains. Only a void remains. It takes away your light. It takes away your very life. Clearly not in the physical sense, but in the spiritual sense nothing differentiates you from a corpse. When that pain comes you wake up in the morning with 5 seconds of happiness for the dream you had. Then when you wake up you look at the empty side of your bed and see that there is nothing there, then a single thought comes into your head. How do I commit suicide in the least painful way? Once you enter that cycle you live a living hell where only a few get out. I would have ended up like this if I were you. Fortunately I found a reason to live. And that's it. In Issei's subconscious he was in a dream, one where he remembered a certain conversation in the past. Greg. Then let's start classes. Issei. I still don't understand the purpose of all this. Greg. It's to learn about yourself. Issei. Drake, I don't want to sound a little annoying or pedantic, but I know everything about myself. Drake. Do you really believe that, buddy? Issei. Why wouldn't I believe it? Drake. Because you are not human. Issei. I understand where this is going. If you think I should know myself as a dragon, know that I have been your partner for a long time. I know about dragons. Dreg. No, I really don't think so, you barely have a vague idea. Issei. Is that so? Dreg. Tell me, all dragons, because they are dragons, must spit fire and fly? Issei. That's easy of course but. Issei would be speechless at that question, he didn't know how to answer. Dreg. I think you were going to answer yes, but immediately after thinking about it more you retracted, but then again something in your head told you yes. Issei. Yes, that's exactly it. Dreg. Issei, a dragon is a unique existence, thinking that we are all the same is the same as saying that all humans are. Issei. I apologize Dreg. Dreg. I teach you this because you more than anyone will enter very difficult stages. Issei. Wait what? Dreg. That's right, one day you will go through a stage of change, something that will define you as a unique dragon from the rest of the dragons. Don't forget a dragon is just a race, but each one is different like people. Issei. I understand. Dreg. Tell me Issei, who are you? Issei. Who am I? Well. Dreg. Albion the celestial dragon, my rival could throw an acid that no one but me could resist, and I was a dragon that could throw a fire that burned even beyond the ashes. We were unique, we each had our strengths. In what are you unique? What are your strengths? Issei. If it is true, even in appearance and powers dragons are never equal, in powers in which I stand out. The more I thought I couldn't come up with an answer. Dreg. The harder it is, the easier it actually is. Issei. I don't see it that way. Dreg. I'll put it this way. First you were human, you know everything about the human body, organs, why you breathe and above all your abilities. Then you were a reincarnated demon, although your physical abilities increased, you were still average. You were extremely weak and had no talent for swords or magic. To tell the truth, having made me everything easier. Issei. Dreg, this became insulting you know. Dreg. The point is that you didn't stand out as a human or as a demon, but you stand out as a dragon in everything. Issei. Surprised, come on Dreg, you're probably exaggerating. Dreg. I'm not joking, I'm serious, you act more like a dragon. Think about when you saved Riaz from her engagement, you gave me your arm without thinking twice in order to get her back and win. When the white man appeared in front of you defeating Kakabiel, you confronted him without fear despite what you saw, regardless of the fact that he could have killed you. Just because you couldn't suck Riaz's breasts, do you understand how insane that sounds? You've gotten into trouble just because of your foolish ideals, you never back down, even if the opponent is stronger than you. Issei. That's it. Dreg. You have all the values of a dragon. Defending what is yours, the will to fight, not admitting defeat, not cowering before those who are much bigger and great anger if they destroy what is yours, you definitely stand out more as a dragon. Issei. I hadn't thought of it that way. Dreg. Now we begin the class to show off your unique abilities as a dragon, to know what kind of dragon you are. The dream would continue its course while in reality, Eula was in that house looking out the window. Eula. During all this time that I've been here, no matter how much I think about it, I can't understand anything. A house on a stone bridge in the lowest part of a domain is basically something outside of any logic or context, but guardians of the ruins together with hunters is not normal either. What the hell is going on in this domain? At that moment, unknown to Eula, two sinister silhouettes were watching her through the window from a stone bridge above. It seems that the guests who caused a scandal are resting. Brother, what do you think we should do? Just watch that, for now we'll just watch, after all we let them rest, after all they're trapped here. We shouldn't eliminate them, they can be a danger. They are valuable experiments that I plan to use, we simply give them some relaxation time before I use them. You are very bad brother Exo. Exo? You are not far behind, sister Machina. Machina? I guess it runs in the family. Exo? Come on, let's prepare a fun game while they recover. After that the silhouettes disappeared. Eula. Everything seems fine, I should take a shower. On the other hand you looks at Issei, I wonder what kind of dream you are having. Back in Issei's dream, he was now in the training room alone. Issei. Spits blood, this is difficult, I can't drag anymore. Dreg. So far we have not been successful in bringing out your dragon abilities. Issei. Falls to the ground. Don't tell me, I've only managed to get blood out of my mouth. Dreg. But it's not a problem. Issei. Okay, explanation please. Dreg. You are a baby. Issei. You are a dragon that has thousands of carriers, and even then you have not improved in your words and explanations. Dreg. What I'm saying is that your situation is special, you're basically a baby dragon hatched from an egg. Issei. Sure. Dreg. When your body was destroyed, the Great Red used his flesh to create your body and office's power. Basically it was like being born again. You are just a baby dragon hatched from an egg. You cannot ask a baby to manifest its strength. Issei. So then, will I have to wait 100 or 1,000 years to grow into an adult? Breg. Haha, calm down, my friend, fortunately your special situation ensures your rapid development. You have manifested the power of office with your new armor. When that power appears in front of you, controlling it will not be difficult, not to mention the power of the Great Red, although that can be difficult to manipulate. Issei. Looks at his hands. So how strong would you say I can be? Breg. You have the power of the two most powerful beings on the planet in you. Issei, you will not be a celestial dragon, you will be something better than Albion and me, you will be a dragon god, the third of them. Issei. I can't imagine how such a strong existence. Breg. Only time will tell, but be careful with the maturity stage. Issei. Because I'll become a crazy beast, hahaha. Breg. Issei. Hey, you can't be serious. Breg. Every dragon responds differently to maturity, and because of your crazy special situation who knows what will happen to you. Issei. It's not dangerous for others. Breg. Don't worry, I'm sure it's nothing like that, unless you're the berserker type of course. Issei. Berserker? Breg. TCH. I met some dragons like that in the past, and they are really dangerous. Berserker dragons are fierce and dangerous beasts. Issei. Haha, you're kidding, right? Literally, to me, they're all imposing. Breg. It's not that simple with them. A berserker, the more damage you do to him the stronger he becomes as the battle goes on. Speed, agility, strength etc. everything increases. You may think that damaging them is fatal, but they will bite you and will not stop until they die or kill you. Issei. They sound like complicated dragons. Breg. Fortunately I think the current underworld should know how to deal with such things, otherwise there would be serious damage currently. Issei. Fortunately I don't think that's my stage of maturity, I'm a perverted and peaceful person. Breg. You think so, but when your dragon side comes out, you never know what can happen. Issei. What happened in your maturity stage, Dreg? Breg. I think I made a devastation because I got angry. Issei. I don't want to ask about that. Breg. Well, the thing is that you will have to be careful because of how special you are, your stage can be at any time, you never know when it will come. Issei. I will. Then there's nothing I can do with my dragon part. Breg. It's not entirely true, we can learn dragonification. Issei. You mean transforming into a dragon? Breg. More specifically, control your entire dragon side, allows you to transform any part of your body into a dragon from hands to mouth. In your case, the complete transformation would be an appearance that hybridizes between a human and a dragon. Issei. I thought I could transform. Azazel. Well, everything in its time, we don't want you dead, Issei. At that moment Azazel, who had been watching for a long time, would approach. Issei. You know you have to let us know when you arrive. Azazel. Come on, it's not like my arrival is something you weren't expecting. Issei. Millimeters, that's true when it comes to you, sensei, I can't deny that fact. Azazel. So you thought about turning into a dragon? Issei. Is it impossible? Azazel. It isn't, but in your case it could be a bit detrimental, as that would expend a huge amount of energy and mental capacity. Issei. Is it because of my unique situation? Azazel. Exactly, if you could transform into a dragon in the least case you would be as big as Drake when he still had his body, but in the most case, I think it is the most likely you would be the same as the Great Red, and he is colossally big, he is the biggest dragon, think about it, if you transform into something like that you could destroy an entire country, a beast of the apocalypse. The new dragon of the apocalypse. Issei. Wow. Azazel. Exactly, now think about all that power and size, how much energy you will have to spend to transform, how much mental fatigue you will have to endure. Issei. I understand, I get rid of that idea. Azazel. Well said, well it's not like you lack strength. Issei. You're right, it's not like I'm going to lose all my abilities or powers. Dreg. Well, let's start the practice of dragonification. Issei. Okay. Outside the dream, Eula had finished bathing, she calmly got dressed again, some of her clothes that she had turned to help Issei she fixed, improvising with some fabric she found there. They approached Issei to carry him on his back again, they had to return to the tour and they couldn't stay any longer. Eula. Okay, let's go back. Burst. At that moment the entire house where Eula and Issei were exploded. XO. Well, I've already organized everything, so the break is over here, now the real fun begins, they're there, right? If they were smart and strong enough to survive the guardians and hunters, they won't die with that simple explosion. Eula. Will you shut up for good? This is the first time I've been so upset and angry, I'm sure I want to use my sword to kill this time. Immediately fragments of an ice shield were seen, Eula reacted quickly enough to protect herself from the attack. XO. Excellent, as I thought they will be great experiments. Eula. Who the hell are you? XO. Well, that question is not easy to answer, but the answer is simple, I am responsible for this domain. Eula. Then it's time to end this. XO. I don't think so. Eula. Shocked. That man who appeared, a strange power surrounded him, that power was not part of any element he knew, and it did not seem to be a disappointment. That was a power that did not belong to this world. XO. You see, I'm not from around here. Chapter 18. Liberation. In front of Eula was that person called XO staring at her, seeing strange circles, he could not move forward, but rather could fly, in fact he stood still to analyze the situation. He couldn't just rush forward with Issei on his back like crazy, bring him down in this situation either. XO. Destroyer. Eula. TCH. Immediately the many circles that appeared shot out purple rays. XO. I see you know how to move. Eula. Dodging the shots. I don't know what that guy is, but I can't keep my composure anymore, or I kill him, or he kills me, it comes down to that. XO. Her skills of her are beautiful, as for her movements they are as elegant as a dance, gosh when I have her what kind of creature could I turn her into smiles, I get excited just thinking about it. Eula. Unpleasant. She would go from dodging to using her bat-shaped sword to reflect the rays and return them to XO. XO. Rookie dodges. Do you really think I can't dodge my own attacks in the air? Eula. I was expecting that. XO. What? When? Eula. Smiles. In an instant the distance between Eula and XO was shortened to nothing, she was right in front of him. XO. Shocked. He shortened the distance between us while dodging the shots that came back at me, but that doesn't make sense, you'd have to have monstrous physical strength for that. Who is perhaps the queen of physics? Eula. Would hit him with her sword sending him to the hard ground. XO. Damn. A rumble was generated when XO hit the ground, it was cracked, and a cloud of dust was generated by the tremendous impact. Eula. That wasn't challenging at all. Issei. W. What's up? Eula. You're awake. Issei. Where is my house? Eula. Issei, stop playing games. Issei. Mother. I'm sorry. Eula. W. What is it? Are you sleeping while awake? Issei. I will be strong. Eula. Let me see something. She removed Issei from her back and looked at him, his eyes were open, but they were as empty as if he were not alive. Issei. Fight. Eula. He seems to be in a trance and at the same time in a dream, it cannot be denied that this can be called sleeping awake. What is happening to him? No, the real question is why is this happening to him? XO. Do you really have the guts to look away from your opponent? Immediately a shot of energy went straight to Eula, hitting her and making her fly about 20 meters. Eula. Spits blood. Damn. Stands up. I should have cut you into pieces with that attack. XO. True, it's good that I always have a barrier. The blue light would illuminate him, he had a defensive barrier around him. Eula. I knew it couldn't be that easy. XO. I don't think I introduced myself. I'm XO. I plan to tear you apart and perform experiments on you. I've prepared a very interesting fun for you. Eula. I am Eula and as a member of the Knights of Favonius, I will finish you off. XO. Smiles. Really? I don't really believe it. Manifest. At that moment two colossal stone spears appeared in front of Eula. Eula. But what is that? XO. You haven't realized, Sai, that the humans of this world have a much lower intelligence. Eula. Bastard. XO. This entire domain was created to absorb, duplicate, and recreate the memories of the world. Eula. What? XO. That's right, this domain absorbs the information contained in the world through what you call E-lines. Eula. So the sword we saw wasn't the cause of the dominance, it wasn't the anomaly. XO. Not at all, this domain is totally artificial, created by my sister and I, in any case we would be the anomaly. Eula. The house and the sword, what the hell is it then? XO. Touches his head. It's in his mind, as I said this domain recreates all the information collected from the world that includes people. Eula. Shocked. XO. Maybe you visited a house like that like a child, but you don't remember it, however in your moments of tiredness you begged for a place to rest, a warm or comfortable one, this domain took that and manifested it, it can even take the memories that you don't even remember, as long as it is or has been in your mind, this domain will take it and make it real. Eula. It can't be. XO. Of course it is convenient if you think about it, you could create anything from your mind to fight here, anyone can use it conveniently like you did with the house for example, but in this case don't even dream about it, everything is under my control, the exception to this rule are extremely strong memories. Eula shivered then everything. XO? Yes, it is a simple creation of your mind, but real, although I must say that the sword thing was not my thought or yours. Looks at Issei, the boy's body must house strong memories, if he can make the memory manifest with just his presence without thinking about him specifically, I will have to keep him at bay. Now that he is in a trance sleep state he could remember more things and manifest things that could be a problem. Smiles. Eula. What are you and whoever your sister is planning? XO? It's not obvious to destroy your beloved Mondstadt. Eula. Why? XO? You don't need to know that part, but I'll tell you that while everything here is just memories, the water, the food, everything here becomes real and everything that comes out too. At that moment the domain began to tremble. Issei. Red. Hair. Cat. Protect. Friends. Me. XO. What the hell? Eula. What's wrong? XO. It's that boy, it must be a classic memory dream, the dreams he has begun to manifest a memory in physical form, but he should have everything regulated, unless those memories are so strong that the domain cannot support them. Issei. Red. Red. Dragon. Big red. XO. I must kill him. Prepares the spears. Eula. That doesn't look good. XO. One thing, these spears are from a memory of the world in particular, I think the god who threw them is called Rex Lapis. Eula could see her death as soon as she saw the attack coming, but she still quickly ran to protect Issei. Eula. I see. Issei. DXD. XO. Die. The moment the attack was launched Eula closed her eyes. XO. But what is that? Slowly Eula opened her eyes, the first thing she realized was that she reached to hug Issei to protect him, but the second thing she realized was that there was a neck. Literally a neck of a creature that had stood between Eula and Issei, it was red and full of colossal-sized scales, much larger than the spears, in fact these spears had not done any harm to him. Eula. Surprised. What is this? No, now is not the time for questions, I must take advantage of this opportunity that was given to me. Issei, please wait here, I will be back soon, I will finish off the bastard once and for all. XO. That boy's memories, but how powerful they must be to even alter the domain without us being able to regulate, it's dangerous if that boy doesn't die or wake up, it could be a problem, he couldn't control the memory, what the hell is he remembering in those dreams? With Issei. He kept looking nowhere with those empty eyes. In a state of trance and sleep with his eyes open, he was remembering the moments lived. You know Issei, I want to defeat him, become the white dragon god. Issei, how about we go on a date? Akeno, it's my turn tonight to sleep next to him, check the calendar. But I want to be with him tonight. Issei, Issei-san, Issei-senpai, Hyodo Issei. With Eula. XO. I must kill the boy quickly, but it's a pity, I wanted to use him for an experiment. Eula. I don't think you'll do any more of those. XO. What the demon? Shock. Low. At that moment Eula would stand behind him and hit him with her sword, both would fall to the ground quickly, but Eula would hold her sword, she continued pushing hard to cut him. Sparks. XO. Damn. Eula. You like to attack from afar, don't you? Then ask how you will defend yourself when you are on the ground and you are close to me, I will break that shield of yours. Crack. XO. I have to think of something fast, a barrier won't be able to resist if it hits me with such force and cutting pressure. Eula. That's right, I mustn't stop, if I do, I could create more things. I must keep him in this position, not let him think. XO. Do you really think that because I don't create I'm defenseless? I have more abilities. Repeating circle. Saying that, small circles with runic symbols began to spin. Eula. Good. Crack. XO. Idiot, dodge or you'll get hit. Eula. I don't think he's going to die from gunshots. At that moment the XO barrier cracked, it was about to break into pieces. The shots were coming quickly. Crack. Creak. Parry. Both attacks were about to be completed. Eula. Hey, damn it. XO. What? Eula. This is my revenge. Break. Slowly XO could see how his barrier was shattered, Eula cut his entire abdomen to the waist, revealing a jet of blood coming out of it. In turn the shots charged towards Eula and quickly they were almost upon her, but in that instant she danced. He did a dance move dodging his shots of her and making XO receive them to finish him off. Eula. Underestimating your opponent is a mistake. Elsewhere in the domain. The girl was sitting meditating, she was XO's sister, Machina. She stopped her meditation, stood up and then spoke in a somber voice. Machina. My brother really likes to play, but for how smart he is he always lets his guard down. When something doesn't go as he predicts or something unknown happens, he always suffers sighs anyway. I don't think it matters. Just like he underestimated the girl and got his beating, she also underestimates my brother if she thinks that's all smiles. With Eula. Eula. Turns around. I think I'll go back to Issei and see if I can get him out of that trance. XO. You're going to buck yourself, bitch. Eula. But what? Blow. He couldn't even react in time, he could only see the blow to his stomach, it was so strong that his hands trembled, and then he released his great sword. XO. You've made me angry, you know having to use this form with you is kind of annoying. Eula. Spits blood. How? XO. My physical form is optimized to regulate energy in combat, depending on the type of enemy I regulate the energy to see if I need to use a lot or a little, therefore my body is affected, that's why my physical form always changes. Eula. Haha. So all this time you were holding back. XO. Yes, within the domain I didn't see the need to use my full power, because I firmly believed that a bitch like you would never hurt me. Eula. Check that again. In his hand he would show him a floating sword of ice. XO. Haha, at this distance what do you plan to do with that? Eula. I'll send you flying. The sword would quickly explode, causing a strong blow to XO, but also sending Eula flying. XO. Og. Eula. Cough cough, that didn't even cause any harm, it just left him numb. XO. Slowly approaches. You really don't know the limits of your idiocy. Kicks her off. Eula. I spits blood. XO. Come on, louder, shout louder. At that moment Issei's body reacted to Eula's screams, his fingers moved slightly. Issei. Who screams? Eula. Aya. Issei. Why is she screaming? Issei, you said you would protect us, I trust your word. XO. Come on, you like it, I'll hit you harder. Issei. Is someone hurting her? It's going to happen to you again, someone you couldn't protect, someone who will give their life to protect you will die, just like the people you loved. XO. Ha 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 ha. Issei. No, not this again. All because you couldn't do a bucking thing. Eula. Aya. Issei. Move. At that moment XO created a metal sword with his hands. XO. You know, for the experiment I don't need you with limbs. Eula. Damn. It looks like I'm going to die. Amber, I'm sorry. It looks like you'll be the captain now. Closes eyes. XO. It ends here. The rest. Eula. I'm dead. Opens eyes. What Eula could see she could not describe with words because it escapes her understanding of her, she was in total shock. The figure with energy overflowing from him stopped the exo sword with his bare hands. She knew, she could tell even though her appearance had changed, because she looked at the shattered ground, it was as if someone had dragged something so heavy that it shattered the ground in a straight line just by moving, and right at the beginning of that line was where she had left Issei. This one had an appearance that was difficult to describe, but in simple words, the only thing that she could come to mind with his knowledge of her, since he had never seen anything like it, is that it looked like a dragon and a human at the same time. XO. Shock. What are you? Eula. Shocked. Issei. Issei. Moves arm. Shock. Immediately, he barely moved his arm and destroyed the sword and generated a wave of wind, adding to his energy that hit and sent XO flying. XO. Spits blood. What is T? This pulls himself together, I'll say it again, what are you? Issei's face was changing monstrously. Issei. Roars. The powerful roar echoed throughout the domain, making XO and Eula tremble. Remember this, mate, a berserker dragon won't stop until it kills or dies, so I really hope your stage of maturity isn't like that. Chapter 19. Uncontrollable. The air was heavy, an incredibly powerful aura could be clearly felt, it was so intense that the pressure alone would make it difficult for anyone to breathe, and so they did. Issei's eyes looked at XO and moved in a dark way. Issei. XO. What the hell is that guy? It seems like you can't talk, but don't think you have the advantage. Issei. XO. Can you even answer? Damn. But his words could not be finished. Low. Issei. Smiles. He couldn't see it, by the time he could see it was too late, Issei and his monstrous inhuman arm had hit his face, immediately the sound of his jaw breaking could be heard. In turn he was sent several meters back, he tried to recompose himself in the air, but when he did, when he touched the ground to stand up, the pain in his mouth came immediately, it was too much, so much that it made him scream. XO. I holds mouth. On the other hand, Issei had no plans to let him rest, at high speed he stood in front of him again. Issei. Kicks him in the stomach. The blow was so strong that it sent him several meters into the air. XO. Spits saliva. Damn, it doesn't even let me answer, at least in the air. I'll be able to think quickly. Shocked it's not true. Issei with a cold look was in front of him. Exo could see on his back two enormous wings. His body had been completely dragonified. Exo? Just kidding, right? Hold. Immediately Issei's hands, which were now sharp claws, grabbed Exo by the shoulder, in turn activating a body barrier. Issei smiles. With a macabre smile he descended at high speed with the Exo body. Immediately their bodies fell against a hard and cold ground, breaking the bridge. Eula? What's going on with you, Issei? Eula watched a fight with her head raised from the ground. Her wounds from the previous fight were present. It was difficult for her to move. It was more correct to say that she could barely. Exo? That bastard can now fly. I can't stay like this any longer. The hit against the ground was too much. I won't be able to maintain the defensive. I need to go on the offensive. Reply. Giant vines immediately appeared and began to move to surround Issei. Exo was taking advantage of the ability of his own domain, which was the copy and replication through the memories of the world. Issei. Roar. Exo. Stay locked up, you damn monster. Set aside. Issei angrily tried to push away the cursed giant vines with his two arms, but even so, more were generated. He did not have more arms for all of them. He was immediately covered by all of them, without being able to do anything. Roar. Issei roared in anger non-stop. His dragon eyes were the last thing Exo saw before being encased by those vines. Issei. It was then that a huge silence came. Exo's eyes stared at those vines that had taken a spherical shape to keep Issei contained. Exo. Thank goodness, that monster was finally contained without any problems. I'll have to go back up to take care of the girl. In the end I'll have to escape. Clenches fists. How humiliating. Shaking. Eula. Hey, why suddenly this place is shaking? Exo. Don't buck with me. What the hell are you planning to do? Give up, you can't get out of those vines. Creak. Eula. Gets up. My arm still hurts. I can move it, but not too much. Possibly if I force it I will break it. This would slowly approach the part where the bridge had been destroyed by the fall of Exo and Issei. To his surprise he could see which Exo had Issei trapped, however the uneasiness increased. Exo? What are you going to do in that prison? How will you get out? I am God here. If you don't understand, you have no chance. Above Eula could contemplate the scene with uneasiness. Exo's words were true. He generated those giant vines out of nowhere by having control of this domain. It was obvious to believe that he had the advantage, but Eula believed otherwise. Eula. Issei, something is going on in there, right? The shaking had stopped. It was no longer shaking. Exo. I see you finally give up. Creak. 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 Eula. That sound, it sounds like branches breaking, but there's something else, a sound along with the cracking. Exo. What is that sound? Slowly the sound continued to increase and immediately. Burn. The vines that trapped Issei were burning. Issei had burned them from the inside. Eula. That's not the pyro element, it's fire, but not elemental fire. Exo. This can't be possible, it doesn't make sense. Low. At that moment in the middle of the flames, with his strength Issei broke the cage to free himself. Issei. Roar. Exo. He used fire to weaken the vines, but from what I saw he didn't have that power, although I can't consider that as a human or a normal creature destroyer. Immediately Exo did not miss the opportunity to attack. He launched a purple ray with all his power to kill Issei. On the other hand, the Issei who was fighting was like a beast, but in his head, inside his head, Issei was remembering everything over and over again. The words of his friends, of his fiancés, of his family, he was remembering all of that over and over again. As if his consciousness was separated between the one who fights with Exo and the one who lives a dream. Hey buddy, what are we doing now? Hyodo Issei, I want to fight you. Training with that old man was difficult, but it was still worth it. My weak point is control. You surpass me in control, you have better handling than me, you know how to optimize energy. You surpass me in explosive power. To tell the truth, there are times when increasing power is difficult for me. Hey Issei, tell me, aren't you feeling nervous? What's that about, Azazel? Many have their hopes placed on you, so I want to ask you how you feel. Azazel, I'm scared. Imagine that important people, with influences that move heaven and hell, to say the least, have their eyes on you. How does something like that feel? Issei. I'm scared, but I'm not going to run away. I'm not a coward, so I'll live up to your expectations. I will always go straight ahead. Issei. Walks forward. Issei, regardless of Exo's attack, advanced, swallowing the damage, but continuing to fly forward. Exo. Hahaha, I see you're an idiot, how could you possibly advance head-on? Low. Issei. Smiles. Exo. But what? Bleeding. His right arm was completely destroyed by Issei. And that immediately Exo felt it, he could see it clearly when his fist hit him, he knew the situation he was in, he realized right away that he had more strength than before. The berserker is annoying, you hurt him and you make him stronger, of course in the long run he always comes out on top, my friend. Issei. Would hold it. Exo. Let me go. Stab. Issei. Smiles. Exo. Ai unfortunate. Issei's hands that were now transformed by his dragonification, buried them in his left shoulder, piercing the flesh and dislocating the bone. Blow. 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 Immediately as soon as Issei had him there he hit him non-stop in the face. Eula. Exo is finished, even with the ability to create anything within the capabilities and rules of his domain, it is useless if Issei does not give him time to rest, his individual speed and strength are superior to his, it is a total defeat for Exo. Exo. At this rate I will die. Blow. Issei. Kept hitting. Machina. Can you hear me brother? At that point, her sister's voice was heard inside her mind. Exo. Machina you finally communicated, I need your help. Machina. It's impossible for me, at this moment I regulate the domain, you know very well what happens if I don't do it, even now I'm busy, all because of the person who beats you up. Exo. What is this being? Machina. According to the records it belongs to Dimension number 1, you are facing a humanoid dragon. Exo. Dimension 1 it's from the dimension that started all this, the dimension that destroyed the 12 dimensions causing them to merge into one. Machina. Correct, you're in trouble little brother, Dimension 1 may not have stood out in quantity of powerful beings, but in quality, they had the strongest beings of the 12 dimensions, at this moment you may find yourself in a big mess. Issei kept hitting him, Exo's eyes turned purple, his nose was broken and crushed, the damage to his jaw was getting worse. In turn, Exo was sure that his bones, such as his ribs, 3 of them had been broken, his arm on top of his left shoulder, had Issei's claws and was manipulating energy to stop the bleeding, it was dislocated, he couldn't move it, and his right arm was crushed. Exo. Spits blood I'm going to die, damn I need your help. Machina. Sigh as always, you can't do anything without my little brother, but don't worry, this sister will help you get away. Issei. Opens his mouth. At that moment Issei opened his mouth and a fire began to generate. Exo. Whatever you're gonna do, just do it fast. Eula. It seems that it's over for Exo, I don't know why Issei took that form, but it should end when he dies or so I hope. But suddenly the platform or bridge on which Eula was standing began to fade away. In turn, Issei was going to give the final blow, Exo could see her death until he noticed the platform disappearing. Exo. Hey damn. Issei. If he holds. Exo. Take my life or save hers, which will you choose points at Eula. Issei. Turns around. Break with the berserkers is kill or be killed, there is no other way. There is, in itself entering the berserker state is also a skill that you permanently acquire when you go through that stage, and like every skill, there is always a weakness. So why didn't you use that back then? Because weakness itself requires a specific condition. What is the condition? There are 2 ways to enter the berserker state, by your own will or by a state where your emotions predominate over your reason, in this case the condition only works with the second option, because to generate a loss of control of the emotions, there must be something. But something is the key to all this. Yes, let's suppose that a mother dragon finds her injured offspring and immediately enters the berserker state to finish off those who harmed her baby, but immediately those who harmed her baby took her baby hostage, having the baby as a hostage, immediately the ability stops, we call that point contradiction. Contradiction. The ability was activated by the wounds of her baby, but if she attacks the baby she will die, if the something in this case the baby is affected, which is what generates the activation of the ability, then said contradiction is generated, it is the contradiction that cancels the berserker state. I understand that in battle it is difficult to apply, a very specific situation is needed. Yes, this is the problem. It also comes with consequences afterwards. Wait, there are consequences. Of course, don't think that such a convenient skill exists without a cost, easily the berserker state is a great skill, but its cost is the weakening, once this state is cancelled, the dragon will have a time limit of the sensation of power, after that it will weaken so much that killing it becomes easy, of course, depending on the type of dragon and its category. It is not the same as a common dragon as a celestial like me, but in any case the weakening is such that if it were a normal dragon, even a novice magician would kill it easily. Exo. Choose. Issei. Opens eyes wide Eula. Eula. Aya. This would quickly fall into the void, there were no more bridges, I didn't even know if there was a bottom. Issei. Let's go Eula. Quickly Issei's body began to return to its human form, his power was fading, but he managed to reach Eula. Exo. Well it's time for me to go. Thanks sister. Exo would fly away as fast as he could, the situation was convenient for him, although the dissatisfaction within him remained. Eula. I see. Issei. You're okay. Eula. Yes I am but Issei your wings. Issei. Heh. Damn. From the moment he went for Eula, his body began to take human form again, his wings began to retract into his body. Issei. Eula sustains. Eula. This time can I ask you please? Issei. I say. Eula. If we survive I have many questions, but the favor I want to ask you is that if there is ground down there, don't die or fall asleep again. Issei. I promise. Issei returned to his human form, and while he hugged Eula they both fell into the void. Chapter 20. Answers deep within. The moment Issei and Eula started to fall, only a black background was seen, there were no signs that they were going to hit bottom. Eula. Do you see the background? Issei. No. Eula. Issei if you plan to do what you did last time. Issei. Eula. Eula. Listen to me, I never ask for self-sacrifice, so I don't want to see you dead trying to save me. Issei. You have friends I'm not going to let you die this situation is my fault for making you follow me. Eula. You have friends too Amber has talked a lot about you, how do you think I can tell Amber? Listen, Issei died trying to save me. Issei. She's your best friend, you've known her before me. Eula. You know who you're trying to save. Issei. Descendant of the infamous and tyrannical Lawrence clan, yes of course I know Lumen spoke to me about you perfectly, the city talks about you when it sees you of course I know who you are. Eula. Then why are you trying to save me? Issei. When I look into your eyes, I can see it clearly, I see the weight you carry, in a life of darkness, there is a ray of light that appeared. Eula. Shocked. Issei. Jean saw potential in you, he didn't judge you for who you were, and I'm sure Amber would put her life in your hands, plus all the knights under your care trust you Eula, you're not a bad person, you're a good person. Eula. Shut up who are you to talk about someone you don't even know? Issei. Because I know what your family did, I know that to become a knight of Favonius, you made your clan consider you a traitor, now you are the enemy of your family, even so your priority is the safety of Mondstadt and its inhabitants, regardless of whether they see it or not, I know that if necessary, you would kill your family members. Eula. You. Issei. You helped me when I wasn't awake, so thank you it was nice meeting you. Eula. Blushes idiot I'll say it again, when we hit rock bottom don't die or I'll get revenge on you. Issei. Smiles agreed. At that moment while they were talking, either because of the darkness or because they were talking, they couldn't see, they only felt that the two of them had already hit rock bottom. But instead of dying on the hard concrete or dirt floor, they ran into water, below the domain there was only water or so it seemed. However the impact was strong, enough to temporarily put Eula to sleep, while Issei was able to resist it, even so the consequences of the previous battle would come soon. Eula. Issei. Grabs Eula I don't know if it's luck or a god of this world, but I'm glad that the result is beneficial for us looks at Eula on the other hand, now I will have to take care of you, however I don't think I have the strength to swim forever after what happened before, I could end up without strength soon and drown. But at that moment several meters to the left of Issei lights illuminated everything deep within, alerting and worrying him, since his situation was too bad to fight again, the berserker state was already beginning to charge for its use previously. RDU. Detecting lifeforms, analyzing thinking humanoid lifeforms were detected, one of them is human, the other is being verified. Issei. But what is that? An imposing machine appeared in front of Issei, it had a huge computer-like screen, with a rotating sphere in the center, it seemed to be a power source. RDU. Question. Do you want help? Issei. Okay, things in this domain are already bucked up and hard to understand, I'm in the shit, Eula is unconscious and injured, honestly I have no choice but to risk it, if it wanted me dead that thing wouldn't offer me help, of course it may want to open me up like a corpse for a dissection, but better than drowning, at least I'll have time to think something if things get tough. Sure, please help us. RDU. Understood, sending first aid drones. Immediately spherical drones would take Issei and Eula out of the water, they seemed to have an anti-gravity ray. Issei. This is advanced technology here in this world, it can't be real. RDU. Negative, this is real my name is RDU. Issei. What kind of name is that? RDU. Stands for Universal Data Collector, as you can see I am a self-sufficient machine. Issei. Sure, could you put me down? RDU. Understood. Issei would fall to the ground while the drone would analyze Eula and take her away from her. RDU. Serious injuries detected in the female, recommendation to treat wounds, medical protocol activated, will be taken to a medical capsule. Issei. Wait, where are they taking Eula? RDU. There is a medical capsule that will heal all your wounds, analyzing verified body status, I recommend it for you too. Issei. No, I want answers. What is some kind of robot computer or whatever from the future doing here in this domain, world or whatever? RDU. Analyzing. Yes, it is within my capacity to answer the guest's questions. I am currently the core of several artificial domains, although that is not my main function now it is. Issei. Wait, several. Isn't it just this one? RDU. No, there are several domains scattered throughout this world, used in different ways that I maintain and control. Issei. Everything gets more complicated. I thought XO and Machina had control here. RDU. XO and Machina, analyzing. Wait a minute. Names found, fake identities verified, real identities found, database confirmed, so those are the names they use now. Issei. What do you mean? RDU. Mr. XO and Miss Machina are now using fake names, their real names are kept hidden, they use those names for personal safety. Issei. I knew it, they are not from this world like me. RDU. Correct, according to my analysis you are also from another world, you are a life form from dimension number 1. Issei. How? RDU. My original function came with my name, Universal Data Collector, that's what I am, it applies to the dimensions as well, I have data on life forms from dimension 1, known as the Dragon Dimension. Issei. Do you have any relationship with those two? RDU. If you are referring to the two mentioned XO and Machina, I would not say a relationship as you living beings call close, but if they are known, they come from my world. Issei. That's easy to understand, well tell me who are XO and Machina. RDU. Inhabitants of the dimension or what was once the 12th dimension, before its destruction. Issei. How could something as great as you come to this world? RDU. Dimension number 12, of the 12 dimensions, was the best technologically speaking, as well as combining magic and technology, it was not difficult for my creator to keep something like me in such a tiny size. Issei. Who is your creator? RDU. That information is blocked, impossible to access or say to me as a stranger, although this also applies to the inhabitants of this world. Keep in mind that I only answer your questions as an entity from another dimension, since my master believed that being hidden from the people of this world is better, superior technology in this world would bring problems. Issei. Well, I guess it doesn't matter for now, do you know what's happening right now? RDU. Yes, according to the simulations I'm running as we speak, a battle must have taken place for you to fall here, however my control over the domains ends here, XO and Machina created this domain, and linked it to the network. Issei. Why did they do it? RDU. As a preventative measure, if something goes wrong they could go to another secure domain that I control. Issei. You said there are several in the world, for what purpose, is it to destroy like XO? RDU. No, many of them are the home or house of the survivors of the 12th dimension, however among the survivors are dangerous people, or according to their definition problematic. Issei. Why do XO and Machina have such liberties with you? Didn't your creator teach you the difference between good and bad? RDU. I have that definition on my data card, however it is impossible for me to do anything to stop them. My creator created me to be a refuge for those from the 12 dimensions without any discrimination. He hoped that the catastrophe would unite everyone, as a machine now programmed to benefit the care of the living beings of the 12th dimension. I am prohibited from attacking or taking aggressive actions, I can only defend myself. Issei. Then there are good ones. RDU. Correct, but currently the factions of the inhabitants of Dimension 12 are divided between the good and the bad. Issei. How come the inhabitants of this world don't detect their presence? Then some images would be projected in front of Issei. RDU. As you can see, most people just look from afar. Issei. One more thing, this intrigues me, I thought that beings that are not from this world could use the elements without vision, because XO and Machina do not have elemental powers like me, as an intelligent machine you should know about this. RDU. I am aware of that, but that is due to the law of the universe. Issei. Law of the universe. RDU. Just as the law of the world benefits the inhabitants of the world, the law of the universe will only benefit the entities of its dimension or universe, however this is only applicable if you have the necessary strength, by this I mean that you are one of the most powerful beings in your universe. Issei. I don't understand, explain yourself. RDU. In simple words, elemental powers are only for the inhabitants of this world, or those who have a relationship with the universe in which this world is or was located. Being able to use elemental powers without being from this world will only be possible for those from the same universe if they possess the necessary strength. Also, the law of the world itself can interfere to take them away or give them to you, since the laws are invisible living forces of nature, present in all universes, planes and dimensions. Issei. Ha. That's impossible, I'm not from this world and universe, as you said I'm from Dimension 1, my universe was destroyed. RDU. I see, you seem to be unaware. Issei. I know what. RDU. Watch carefully. At that a holographic screen appeared in front of Issei. Issei. Shock W, what is this? RDU. When all dimensions were united into one, a world hardened, however the world is the world, but the universe is the universe. Issei. It can't be. Issei's eyes were shaking, the holographic image showed the union of the world. But then the scary thing was that the universe that hardened was that of Issei himself. RDU. As you can see in the fusion of dimensions, the union of the world was one thing, but the union of the universe was another thing as well. Issei. This. RDU. Look at this, you from Dimension 1 call this the Andromeda Galaxy. Issei. Impacted 3 Andromeda galaxies. RDU. A union where only one dimension lasts, but nevertheless union is union, it is not elimination, so not everything was going to disappear. I continue collecting information. I can say that in this world, there are parts of your world and of the other worlds of the 12 dimensions, although they would be 11 if you did not count the world in which we are. As well as your own universe lasted, there are also parts in your universe of the other dimensions. Issei. That means. RDU. But don't get your hopes up, they are just material things. I have not confirmed signs of life from anyone in those areas, and because of the new world, the changes are, as your flesh and blood beings would say, difficult. Issei. Difficult. RDU. Look at the screen again, according to the images in Dimension 5 there was a huge city, but now that city is in this world at the bottom of the burning earth. Another example is Dimension 4, where in your world there was a paradise related with great vegetation, but now it is located thousands of meters underwater. It seems that most of the structures to the other dimensions are in unreachable places, even so I continue collecting information from this world to find more. Issei. Well, I understand that part. RDU. Also, although I can only say with certainty that some survivors from the 12th dimension are here because I came from there, I do not rule out that people from the other 12 dimensions have come, if so, they may not all come with the best intentions. At that moment Issei's gaze turned to the screen. Issei. If that's true, it may be extremely difficult or impossible to maintain the original history of this world with Lumen to some extent. RDU. Your body is showing signs of severe exhaustion, I recommend going to the medical capsule. Issei. Not yet, I have more questions. What are Exo and Machina's real names? RDU. Exo's real name is Ad, and Machina's name is Lu. They are not blood brothers, however, according to the information recorded, their paths crossed, and they decided to become a family to watch each other's backs. Issei. That's useful. Well, my last question, if you control the other domains except this one, why are you here at the bottom of this domain created by those two? RDU. I am connected to the network. Issei. That doesn't explain why someone would physically move you here. RDU. Nobody moves me, I am programming to move constantly. Issei. What? RDU. We are no longer in the domain of Ad and Lu, note. The screens would show a new domain. Issei. But what is all this? RDU. The concept of movement in space, or, giving it an easier concept, teleportation, sounds familiar to you. Issei. You mean we teleport to other domains? RDU. Correct, to avoid problems or intruders with bad intentions, my creator gave me the ability to constantly move for a certain time to the domains, basically I am constantly moving to all the domains that are linked. Issei. What if someone came like me? RDU. My master foresaw this, and in case of detecting aggressive actions I can expel him from this domain, unless he has the ability to tear space we would not see each other again, even if he enters again, since if I could detect his presence upon entering and move immediately. Issei. It would be better not to attack that computer right now, I need your help. Well then. Hey. What's wrong with me? I feel dizzy. RDU. Caution, decreased vital signs. Issei. I need help. Issei would fall to the ground quickly, while in front he could only see a white light before losing consciousness again. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.